Roger. We good?
Yep.
Alright. Welcome everybody, we are live on the Phenomenonormal podcast. Tonight's subject is Reincarnation and Past Lives. Please remember we go live every other Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 PM US time and 10 PM UK time. All podcasts will eventually be uploaded to YouTube shortly after, so don't forget to follow us on Twitch and subscribe to YouTube. I'm your host today, Aaron, and I'm joined by my co-host Josh, who is currently AFK at the moment for a moment while he just feeds his dog. I'd like to remind everyone we do have a Discord where you can join and discuss topics with us, share your experiences, and even participate in some of our discussions. It's relatively new and we're still working out the quirks, but hopefully with enough time it will be a wonderful place to be with all of you in there with us. Also important to note, we are running a two-part special on Halloween where we'll be discussing ghost stories earlier in the day at 12 PM US time, which is 5 PM UK time, where we'll be discussing our experiences and others we've heard of. And at the usual time, we'll be doing another podcast at 10 PM UK time and 5 PM US time, discussing the paranormal itself. You do not want to miss that. With all that said, we just need to wait for Josh. But I'm going to start talking a little bit about reincarnation, because reincarnation is a fascinating subject. So reincarnation, for those of you who don't know, is supposedly being brought back from a past life. You've died and you've ended up in another body and you now live another life, but you still supposedly have memories of your past self. So essentially what this means is there have been many stories of children who can somehow remember past lives and certain events from them, and somehow know things that they shouldn't possibly be able to know, which is quite baffling, because I'm not really trying to get into the religion subject, but some religions believe in reincarnation, others do not. Most believe that you just go to heaven or hell, or whatever have you. There's so many different religions out there. Not all of them follow the reincarnation pattern. Now, there are people that are Christians. You know, we have this whole heaven, hell, purgatory thing, and that they believe in, and even some of them have been baffled that, you know, they've had children who've been able to remember past things. There was a story of a boy named James, and essentially he remembers being a World War II pilot. And the weird thing is, he knew things he shouldn't be able to know at such a young age. Like, he was able to name the plane, certain people in the army, things he wouldn't possibly know from World War II. You know, he's a child that is not watching war documentaries or things, which makes things very fascinating. We have cases like Dorothy Eady, who she actually passed away and came back, supposedly, and she was a completely different person. And she changed the name. She knew things about Egypt, like where a garden was, certain plant locations, and all that stuff. Stuff she couldn't possibly ever know about. And when excavators begun digging where she said, they found a garden with all the things she had named, like where the trees were, certain plants. She was in a museum saying this was her people. She was kissing the feet of the pharaoh statues. Just absolutely bizarre and strange. Like, how she possibly knew something from thousands of years ago and things like that. And then you've got the kid who's able to remember stuff from World War II in his past life. There's been story of other children being able to, you know, certain children dying in a car crash and being able to remember their past life where they died and know the house and the layout of it and all this kind of stuff. It's a really baffling and interesting conundrum, because how is that possible? If our brains are our brains, how do we remember our past selves who had a different brain? If our brain is supposed to be the working part of our body and be able to remember all these different things we've gone through throughout life, how could we possibly have knowledge of another's? Now, many people will jump to the idea of a soul. The soul is what carries some of these memories with them. Many people have a theory that the reason why babies come out crying is because they remember things from the past. They're upset about it. Maybe that's the reason to do with it. There's many people that have many different theories on reincarnation in the subject because it's a very unknown phenomena, which seems impossible. Being able to remember something from like 50 years ago when you wasn't alive then, or the exact places people died and where their bodies are buried and whatnot. It's a really crazy subject. I believe Josh is back.
Hello everyone. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I had some family emergency stuff, and I had to take care of my dog and stuff at home. So
Yeah.
I am back though.
Yeah, I had to get things kicked off. So I'm going into a little bit of it. People talking about past lives and being able to remember things they shouldn't possibly know, especially with our brains. Our brains are supposed to be able to remember things from our childhood and things, not remember something from a past life in a different body. So could that possibly be linked to the soul, for example? Carrying those memories over. Because there's no other way to really explain it. Because
Right.
science will tell you, your brain remembers everything from your experiences. Nothing about being able to remember your past self in a different body with a completely different brain with its own experiences. There's no scientific explanation for that one,
Right. It looks like our Discord is growing a little bit. We have a couple new members in there. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up with everything here. Got my dog barking out in the background, so you may hear him over the speaker here.
Yeah, we do have a guest who will be joining us shortly as well.
Yeah, I think we could probably get him on in the next segment.
Right. Okay.
Just so we can kind of go over some of the topic, and then we'll bring in the guest, which is awesome.
Right.
Very first guest of the show.
Yeah. They're definitely taking an interest in the topic. I mentioned it, and they were like, "Oh, invite me to the Discord." And,
so, I don't want to reiterate too much about what you said. I heard a little bit here and there about the past lives and being like how not every religion follows them. And then the different fascinating stories that people have remembered being somebody else. It's incredible. We used to say in my family, my brother is an old soul, right? Because he had memories of these like stories, just elaborate, interesting stories of things that he shouldn't have known about. Things that he said that he used to do and be and whatever, and we just chalked it up at the time to just it's a kid's wild imagination.
Right. Yeah. That's always the go-to, isn't it, with kids? Where it's just their imagination and stuff, but
yeah, but it was so vivid.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about because kids do have a wild imagination. They have tons of things they'll think of. I remember when I was a kid and I had all kinds of imagination. Imagine I was a pirate on a ship just because I had a pirate ship in the playground at school. And, I used to think I was a pirate and all this kind of stuff. Kids are very creative with that kind of stuff. But the stuff that some of these kids have been able to talk up and talk about and remember past lives, past people, mention names from a long time ago, or know the locations of things that they shouldn't possibly know about, that's beyond imagination. That's a step above.
Yeah, it's some interesting stuff. It's definitely stuff that I delve into a little bit in research here over my couple days off I had. But I mean, it's just it's reincarnation and past lives. It's such a rabbit hole. You start looking at one thing, and then there's a million other links that go to other things. So it's like it's impossible to do all this research in 1 week. So
yeah,
I'm still learning all this stuff right now.
yeah. Because right. Let me try and get up a summary here. So I spoke a little bit about James. Apparently, this child who was 4 years old had nightmares about being a World War II pilot who died after his plane crashed. He was screaming, claiming he was on fire. He's on fire. The little man couldn't get out of the plane. And he also knew the type of plane. It was a Corsair. He knew about the Natoma. Somebody called Jack Larson, who was apparently one of his buddies. And the family, the father was basically a lifelong Christian. So to him, the thought of reincarnation isn't really something that comes into Christianity, you know. But he spent about 3 years researching it, and there was a guy called James Houston who died in 1945 after his plane took a direct hit and plunged into the water. They even wrote a book about it as well. But yeah, James was having 5 nightmares a week. At a toy shop, they were looking at model planes, and the mum said, "Look, there's a bomb on the bottom of it." And he said, "That's not a bomb, that's a drop tank." Huh. Like, he knew what was on the plane, and he's just a toddler.
Right.
And he began going into details, looking like a military historian. He known about the gas tank used by aircraft to extend the range. They asked him, "Who is the little man?" He's like, "It's me." His father asked, "What happened to your plane?" He said, "It crashed on fire." "Where did your plane crash?" "It got shot." "Who shot your plane?" James made a disgusted face and said, "The Japanese." And he said he knew it was the Japanese because of the big red sun, which is it was a Japanese symbol of a rising sun painted on warplanes called meatballs by American pilots. Now, the mother suggested the reincarnation topic to the father, but he was quite angry at this because he's a Christian. He's like, "No, there's no way, you know, because of his religious beliefs." And he's like, "Do you remember what kind of plane you flew?" He's like, "Of course, Air." "And do you remember where it took off from?" He said, "A boat." So he knew about aircraft carriers as well. And he knew the name of the boat, called the Natoma.
Huh.
He even named the boat.
That's interesting.
Which is absolutely baffling. And it was a World War II aircraft carrier. He would often don an imaginary pilot's headset, which he made from an old car seat with one of those toy phones and stuff like that. And they got they bought a book for him called The Battle of Iwo Jima, and James pointed out the picture and said, "Daddy, that's where my plane was shot down." Now, obviously, the dad's quite baffled by this, and he's gone into his office, he's looking at all these dictionaries of American naval fighting ships and Toma Bay and whatnot in Iwo Jima in 1945. And a lot of the stuff the kid was saying actually made sense. And he mentioned the name of somebody called Jack Larson. Yeah, my brain, sorry. He said he was a pilot too. So Bruce was like, "Right, okay, I'm going to try and find out about this Larson person who supposedly exists." Now, he went to a reunion of veterans on Natoma Bay and whatnot, and they contacted someone called Carol Bowman. Bowman, however you pronounce that.
About to say, if you were going to say Carol Baskin.
But eventually, you know, they learned that there was actually somebody called Jack Larson.
Okay.
They also, he liked to play war games with his G.I. Joe action figures, Billy, Walter, and Leon. He also liked to draw battle scenes with bullets, bombs, and planes. He drew Wildcats, Corsairs, naming the Japanese planes Zeks or Bettys, or is it Zeeks? Zekas? I don't know how you pronounce it. But he also pointed out his corsair to them, and
it's a
when they
very
actually managed,
vivid memorization of it too.
yeah, and they they managed to find Jack Lawson, covered a secret about it. Tonight, Lawson's friend James Houston Jr. died when his plane was shot and the engine caught fire, exactly as the 2-year-old described. Bruce found Houston's name on the list of 18 men killed in the action in Natoma. And obviously I didn't question it. Is it the soul of the man who habits my son? You know? Like, is this actually, because all these coincidences just happen to line up and this kid seems to know all this information. It's, but Lawson also told him, James is a real good man. It's a very dangerous place, but James volunteered to go. He also said it was aboard the Natoma that the first crude napalm bombs had been improvised, mixing napalm powder with petrol like we were making jelly. But essentially, they also found a photograph as well of the men, and they actually had the names of the G.I. Joe figures had the same hair color as the men in the picture, who he named his figures after as well, which was also kind of a crazy coincidence. Now, how could this 2-year-old possibly know this information? Like how? It just doesn't seem feasible.
2 years old. I was being a menace and making wall paintings with Sharpies and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, this kid was coming out with all this, stuff and all this information he shouldn't possibly have known.
That's incredible.
They even met with the James Houston's sister, who was called Anne, and she also believes that they're the reincarnation because of all the information he has.
That's incredible.
But she was 84 years old when they met her.
Wow.
And I don't know how else to chalk it up.
It's an incredible story, though.
Yeah, and that's not the only one. There are tons of stories out there.
Yeah. I remember reading that one in particular. But yeah, there's so many of them that I was finding when my little bit of research I was able to do on it.
Yeah, I mean, we all know there's plenty of people out there who will try and make up a story to get their 5 minutes of fame and try and become famous and stuff like that. So many of these reincarnation stories may not be true, but some of them have got such evidence to them, it's almost impossible to ignore. And there was also another story of somebody who was actually able to mention how he was killed. They actually even found the guy that hit him with an axe in the head, killed him, and the kid knew his name and everything like that. And he even, went up to the guy and was like, "Is your name blah blah blah? I used to live next door, and you put an axe in my head." And he was actually able to point out where his body was buried. Which is... Ow!
Right.
It's just so baffling. So, do you believe in reincarnation? Let me ask you this. Do you believe in it, or are you still unsure?
I'm still unsure. I think there's some remarkable coincidences.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I outright don't believe it. But I don't know. I truly do not know. I like there's so many stories out there of these things, and to sift through what's real and what's fake it's hard to do. And like I was saying, this whole path of researching this type of stuff, it's a rabbit hole. Yeah. You go down it, and you're gonna keep going down.
That's it.
And there's for every real story that's out there, you're gonna get 30,000 fake ones.
Right. That's the big issue that we always face when it comes to phenomena and paranormal stuff. Is you get all the people that want to make up a story and seem cool and tell a lie, and you get all the people that are lost in it who could be telling the truth, and it's almost impossible to tell because of all the liars out there.
In my life experiences, though, I wouldn't put it past that this being real. I've seen my fair share of things. There's things I'm skeptical on. We talked about aliens and stuff, and I was like, I'm skeptical that they're here. It's not that I don't believe they're not real. I just don't believe that they could be here unless they've already here.
Right.
Just because of how vast the universe is, and to find our little blue marble in the vast openness of nothing, it's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. I mean,
but for this, it's there was a study that was done. I don't even remember who did it. This is so long. It was one of the Ivy League colleges. They did this study on essentially it was on neuroscience, on the brain, right?
Right.
And they were studying our memory, right? And they found out through that study that as we live our lives, right, because our brains are like supercomputers, essentially.
Yeah.
It's leaving electromagnetic footprints across everywhere that we go.
Right.
One sec here. I gotta go for a quick second.
Right, okay. Right. While they're gone, I'll share another interesting story. So there was a pair of twins, and supposedly, this occurred in 1957 in England. There was these twins called Joanna, who was 11, and Jacqueline Pollock, who was 6 years old. They
Sorry about that. Had an important phone call.
Yeah. They were similar looking despite their age difference. They suffered a car accident in which they were run over near a sidewalk and died. Now, the mother became pregnant 1 year after the date of the accident, and her husband told her he had a hunch that his birth would bring a single child. But instead, they ended up having twins instead. Now, the odd thing is, the girls that had a scar identical, one of them had a scar identical to that of the daughter Jacqueline, who had fallen when she was 3, above her right eyebrow. And the other girl had a mole the size of a thumb in the same place as the second deceased daughter, which is already strange enough, But 4 months later, the family moved to another village, but after 2.5 years, they went back and visited the same place they were born. And their parents found out that 2 girls knew the place very well. Even without seeing the school, they could point a finger to where it was, and the same thing happened when they pointed to a place where the swing and slide were. When the girls went through their old house, they recognized every place immediately. They were even able to identify which toys in the box belonged to each girl. And they both had an inherent fear of passing cars. Because of supposedly, them recently, years later, earlier, basically dying in that car accident. Now, this was done in 1957. I don't know the validity of it, but it's still a very interesting story at the same time.
All right.
So to have...
Sorry, go ahead.
To have a scar in the same place as the previous daughter on one of them, and a mole on their thumb, the same as the other daughter, and being able to remember their past lives, despite them having an age difference at the time when they originally died, and this time having twins and just carrying those same traits and being able to have those memories, it's just baffling.
Right. So Well, I was going at with that study before I got interrupted and had to leave for a bit.
Yeah.
The So they were doing this study on the electromagnetic footprint of our brains, right? Basically, everywhere we go, we leave like bits of our memory through our electromagnetic footprint, right? And they said that this is what could cause ghosts, essentially.
Right.
But or what we perceive to be ghosts. But what I would like them to try and see too is could this also be partly like an imprint towards past lives as well? Like maybe somebody from like whoever they're remembering that they are, from a past life, that maybe that person was once there for a while, and that they're just kind of that memory's passing through that like whoever,
Yeah.
So that could be a way. I'm the debunk guy. In case anyone hasn't figured that out, I tried to debunk stuff before I believe it's real.
Yeah.
But that could be a possibility as well to what these children and adults even are believing as a past life, is that it could just be an imprint from a former person that's being left in that area. It could be, but I would need to see or do research myself even on that more in order to believe that theory.
Right.
But I mean, without that theory, I mean, I take it at face value that these are real stories, these are real past lives.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I 100% believe it, but I'll take it at the face value of these got to be real right now because there's no way to otherwise prove it. But so I wasn't able to find anything on this. I don't know if you did some more. You probably did a lot more research on this than what I did. But why does it only affect certain people and not,
Everybody.
everyone? Like why is not everyone having past lives?
Right. That's obviously a very great question as well, because that's something we just possibly can't know. I mean, when it came to the boy who remembered his past life, he said that apparently he picked his parents. He joins. He met his friends in heaven. Some of his friends from the armory in heaven. Apparently, he picked out the parents when they were on a holiday, or something is what he claimed. Now I don't know the validity of that. Obviously, how could you possibly test that? There's no possible way to test somebody in the afterlife going, oh, I decided that's going to be my next parents.
The only thing I was able to find, right, as far as my question goes, is all religious based, right? And it states that everyone is reincarnated, right? For like Buddhism, Hinduism, all that, who believe in that stuff, for reincarnation. They said that everyone is reincarnated, but not everyone will remember their past life. And there's no explanation as to why.
Right.
Other than, sometimes those past lives want you to live your own life.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to be influenced by theirs.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, why doesn't everybody remember the past lives? It's a very interesting thing, because if we're all supposedly reincarnated and we are repeatedly brought back again and again, why don't we always remember our past life? And why do some have the ability to do so? It's a very interesting topic.
According to the religions of these, reincarnation beliefs, some past lives want us to develop our own personality, our own lives, and not live vicariously through their past life and try to be like them.
Right.
To do something different, to do something new. Because yes, even though they're a part of you, you're still your own individual person. And that's what their beliefs are stating. So that's the closest answer I think we're going to get to that. It's just through religious base.
Yeah.
But I don't have any other explanation for it, and that's why I asked it, because I'm like, I didn't see anything other than religious-based text saying the reasons behind it. But just like with a lot of religions, this is why I'm skeptical of so many religions. It's very vague. It's not.
Everything's so vague. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing that's like concrete evidence. You have to have that faith that it's real.
Right.
And that's I'm a faith guy as far as if I could see it, I can feel it, I can whatever, I believe it's real.
Right. Yeah.
And throughout my experiences, like we talked about with our myths and legends, I saw a rake. I believe it's real now because I saw it. Before then, I would have said it's a hoax.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, you got all these different religions. I don't really want to get too deep into religion because I know a lot of people can get offended or upset and whatnot. But
right.
There's thousands of religions out there, right? And many of them have many gods. Many of them have a single god. And we're told we're supposed to worship them or whatever, have you, behave certain ways. But how do you possibly know that your religion is the right one? Because there's thousands out there. It's like a jack of all trades. Like all these religions have their own things that you have to do, but you just don't know which one's the right one.
So, there's a lot of research that's been done, especially recently, on near-death experiences, right? Or NDEs, right?
Yeah.
And they've asked people, and it's been people of all different religions, right? And they ask them like, "Did you see anything when you died and came? Now that you're back, did you see anything?" And nearly everyone describes the same exact thing, right?
Right.
And with the slight differences, and it seems like when you die, your soul or whatever have you, your afterlife, you get carried to whatever version of your religion that you believe. That's what people have described, So, whatever our afterlife is, right? The all-powerful being, God, gods, whatever have you, right? The spaghetti monster in the sky, right? Whoever it is, they're the ones who are catering to us, right? I guess is what the consensus was with these near-death experiences, is that when you die, if you believe in reincarnation, supposedly you can get reincarnated. If you don't, and you just believe in a heaven, I guess you have a choice to go to heaven or what have you,
Right.
The other thing that they stated is that you feel this overwhelming love and peace when you pass, the likes of what you have never felt before, and that everything bad you did or may have done, like it fleets, it's gone, and before you can like fully pass on, you have to accept everything that you've done.
Right.
And when you accept it all and understand that yes, I did this, you're granted, your peaceful rest. And that's what a lot of people have said. Some people were given choices during their near-death experiences, so that's another common feature. I know it's not the topic for today, but it kind of is with the past lives. People coming back, stuff.
Could that have an effect where in the case of the boy who supposedly picked his parents,
right?
Did he have that choice?
Some people claimed that they were able to come back to their body when that happens, and other people said yes, they've passed on, but they were able to go into another person. That's the past lives portion of it, because they said they weren't ready to go on to an afterlife. They wanted another shot. They weren't done.
Right.
So that there's been those kind of experiences. Different children have said, yeah, I was so and so in the past life, and I died this way, and I wanted another chance, so I came back. Things like that. But that's the consensus that I've seen from like the near-death experiences, that you're a lot of times you're given a choice, and sometimes when you don't get a choice because the death was just that, you know, it was bound to happen. You get a choice, I guess, to be reincarnated or not.
Right.
Um, which I find very interesting. That it's like that's why I believe more in these people with these near-death experiences and these past lives supposedly. I think I believe them more than I believe religion. Because religion was written by people, just regular, everyday you and me people.
Man. Yeah, written
but
by man.
And it's supposed to be the words of these gods or God or whatever. But people who have actually experienced this kind of stuff, I think, know more than what the religious texts do. Because they've been there, they've been there already. And we don't have any recollection or memory of that. And some people said that they describe a void as well. There's like a void that they have to go through, and when you pass through it, that's the afterlife. Until then, you're just kind of in a limbo. But there a lot. Someone actually, oh god, I wish I could find that interview. Maybe I could find it during the break. But they described that they were told that if they were they were met by loved ones when they passed, and that if they went through the void, they would lose all memory of their past, and they would just essentially live in eternal peace and happiness as themselves, but without the fears or the emotion, like the bad and negative emotions of living, and that if they wanted to, they could pass to a different void that would bring them back to Earth with all their memories intact.
Right. But then why do they lose them over time? That's an interesting one.
I think that's just because the mind develops and learns still, regardless, and you just start losing your memory over time.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, I could ask my parents. I don't remember. If I said anything when I was a kid, I don't remember. I don't think I did. I think I was just a pretty average, normal kid that liked to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I was that kid that got in trouble all the time, and I ended up becoming a cop later on. But
yeah, I was a wild kid, me. I used to climb trees, top of roofs, and all sorts, me.
But yeah, I don't recall anything from a past life though, as far as my life goes.
Yeah, I don't either.
I definitely do believe in a form of afterlife. Although my views on it have shifted into something a bit more understandable to me, a little bit more scientific, I guess you could say, more so than faith. It's a faith that I believe there is an afterlife now, but I don't believe necessarily, I guess, God or gods. There's a power that's out there that's more powerful than any of us, but I don't think it's an all-powerful or an all-good thing.
Right.
It's just it's an entity. It's something, It has immense power, and it tries to be as good as possible, but it's leaving choice up to the universe.
Right.
So, and that's what I believe. It doesn't want to be. It doesn't want to be a full in control. It kind of is like, yeah, I created all this. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think it's a very loving entity.
Yeah.
And it wants everybody to come back to it and join with it in the afterlife.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've got another interesting story here of a boy who is supposedly his own grandfather.
Oh yes, I've heard about this story. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where to start, but he basically knew his old car, his first car, when they brought out a picture album. And the parents were quite baffled that he was claiming it was his car. He said that was his first car, but they didn't believe him. So they showed a picture of his grandfather when he was a child and other children the same age, and he pointed to his grandfather and said, "There I am." And she said, "No, that's your grandfather." He said, "No, that's me." So they still didn't believe him because obviously, probably just child and wild imagination, like we always do. And children see and know a lot more than we think, and we always just chalk it up to child's imagination and whatnot. But he told her about someone that turned his sister into a fish. Now, not in the sense of an actual fish, but more in the sense of he knew his sister had been murdered and her body was thrown into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So the interesting thing is they never mentioned that to their son. But somehow he knew this information, which is quite baffling. And, obviously when experts were taking a look at the kid and whatnot, they were like, could he have possibly been influenced? A story told by the parents and whatnot. And, it's always a very interesting thing. Could they have possibly heard you talking about it at some point?
You're right.
But the fact that he was claiming to be his grandfather, he knew what he looked like as a child, apparently knew where his sister had been buried, and the parents were saying, no, we never shared that story with him, we never talked about it. It's just very eerie and interesting at the same time. Because imagine being reincarnated into your own family, but like a further generation down. That'd be so bizarre and weird,
Right.
So you once their father, now you're their son.
What's your take on animals too? Like, do you think animals can get reincarnated too, or is it just people?
Oh, I mean, possibly. I mean, animals could be reincarnated as well. I don't know.
So,
I mean, sometimes certain animals have certain behaviors that previous pets have had.
Yeah, there was a show I was listening to, and this guy was trying to say that animals can only be reincarnated into other similar animals. Seeing like a dog into a fox, right? They could do that, but they can't become humans. In order to do that, there's like different dimensions, is what he was saying, and that like they have to go through like a dimension where horses could talk. Say a horse, right? Like a horse wants to become human. They have to go to a dimension and live a life as a human, or the horse that could talk, right? And then they have to go to a dimension where it's like horse people, and then they can transform into being a human. So they have to go like a journey almost. But he said that humans can become animals, no problem. Which to me just sounded kind of wrong.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we so special?
Yeah.
But in order to become back to human, we have to go along that same journey afterwards. I was like, I don't... I understand the concept of it, but I don't think that's very accurate.
Yeah, how could he possibly know that information?
Right, well? Right. I think he gets a lot of his belief through his religion.
Possibly, yeah.
But I definitely think that animals can become humans, humans can become animals. If this is all to be true, yeah, absolutely. Because there was a story about a man saying that he was a horse in a past life.
Right.
So I was just, I don't know, it seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never really thought of animals reincarnating, but I do notice that certain animals can sometimes have certain behaviors. Like, I have had a cat pass away, and then I've had another cat which has shown very similar behavior to the previous one. Like, it was almost as if it was back again. Now, mostly I didn't really chalk it up to anything, so yeah, my cat's being reincarnated. But it was just strange how they showed similar behaviors.
Right.
They lied in the same spot they used to lie in, the way they moved their body when you stroke them, they'd wiggle their ear and stuff like that. Exactly the same way as the other one did, same side and everything, start off with the right to the left, to the right to the left. Now, I didn't really think it was reincarnated, but it was just kind of calming in a way. Because, obviously losing a pet is a very traumatic experience, the family. They're not just an animal, they literally become your family. They're basically like your child in a way, to a degree. Because you take care of them, you look after them, you spend your life with them, It's your job as a pet caretaker when you have pets is you look after them. So they're essentially like your child, and it just felt calming to see him have such a similar behavior as the previous one. But I don't know, I've never really thought about reincarnation for animals that much, so not really something I've looked into.
So, listened to a show last night on the Coast to Coast thing. Very, very popular North American radio station.
Right.
And they had, oh God, what was her name? Karen Anderson was on, talking about pet reincarnation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she was stating that, talking to people on the show about this guy called in. He's saying that he has this new dog or whatever, and he's like staring this dog in the eyes, and the dog's staring back, and they're just connecting on this like real emotional level. And he had a pet before that was just they used to do that a lot. They used to do everything together, and this dog seems to do the same thing. And he just has this feeling like his past dog is inside this dog. And she was kind of channel that through, and like, yes, I believe that's so, or at least trying to tell you that hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And that's a animal's way of showing, like, I guess that we can be reincarnated as well, and I'm still with you. But he just said there's another one that said that he had this strange connection to his dog, like they've always known each other.
Yeah.
And that she said it's possible that you guys knew each other in a past life. Like you were his owner in a past life, and now in your new lives you're together again, which is extremely rare, supposedly, but it can happen, and that's just a very amazing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely fascinating to think about. I mean, my animals get spoilt rotten. They get very good taken care of. But it just makes you think, like, if it was the same cat, my cat did come back, why didn't the others come back? They were treated just as well and whatnot. Why did they choose not to come back? It then opens that question into my mind, If this one did come back, why didn't the others? Because they get absolutely taken care of. They're spoilt rotten all the time, they're very well looked after. We take very good care of them. So why not the others?
Right. Well, supposedly, like I said, that everything gets reincarnated. It's just if they remember or not. So I guess.
Yeah. I see.
That's supposedly the theory behind it.
Yeah. All right. We're about to come to 10 minutes of the hour, so we'll take a 10-minute break, everybody, and we'll be back on the hour.
And we can take our call here as well.
We could take our call and get in our guests for today. So if everybody could be accommodating and welcome them to the call and everything like that, that'd be wonderful. We'll be back in 10 minutes, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy the calming music. Don't forget to put on your tinfoil hats. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Phenomenonormal podcast. We're going into the next subject, segment, sorry. Tonight's subject is reincarnation and past lives. Please remember we go live every other Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. US time and 10 p.m. UK time. This week it will be on Tuesday. Also, we have a YouTube where all videos will be uploaded to shortly after. Don't forget to subscribe over there. Comment on the videos. Leave us a like, leave us a dislike. If you leave us a dislike, let us know why. Tell us what we can improve on. This is all a learning process. We're all getting used to it, and feedback is very much appreciated. Now, tonight we're going to have our first guest on the show, known as Alex. Diego Gaming LT is someone that I play Path of Titans with. And he showed interest in the podcast tonight, so we're going to be getting him in here in about now-ish.
Yeah, we can pull him in. Yeah, we can pull him in right now.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it on Discord. Oh,
didn't give him it in there.
Oh, what happened?
Okay, it looks like it dropped him from it, so hold on. Let me try and get him back here. In the meantime, he could just rejoin the channel here and...
Yeah. Right. Hang on.
Yeah, it dropped him from it. It says he's supposed to be able to connect. All right.
Yeah. We're still working all this out, so just give us a moment.
Yeah.
It's our first time inviting somebody into the broadcasting
okay.
studio. He's gone back into open line for us.
Okay.
Let's try this again.
Yeah. I'm just checking the permissions here, make sure. If you want to continue talking about the topic while I work this out.
Right, we'll get you in just a minute, Alex. We're just trying to work this out, trying to get the right permissions sorted and everything, because we're still new to this, pulling people in, because you're, like I said, our first guest. But yeah, so we were discussing reincarnation, the possibility of getting a choice when you die, and possibly being able to choose whether you want to be reincarnated, whether you want to pass on, maybe you're not ready to give up yet, is what we were discussing, and also some interesting stories of a World War II pilot. Now, the first story that I properly heard that got me really interested into the...
Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to get you over there, so if it just disconnects you, just try and reconnect in.
Some bongs.
Okay, sorry. I had to leave channel and it kind of muted you for a bit. But alright, we are still working this out. I'm sorry. Went over there to talk to him, as I heard it on my channel there.
Right. Because they're in bings and bongs on the Discord.
Yeah.
He's still working it out.
I don't know why it's not letting him in. Alright. You know what we can do, though?
What?
I can do this right here. We can allow up to 2 people or 3 people in here in this chat. We can just move up to the user line for now until we can figure it out. So we'll just move up to the open line channel.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay.
Right, we're coming down here because we couldn't figure it out.
There we go. Yeah, we couldn't figure it out, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna turn your volume up so we can hear you a bit better.
Yeah.
All right.
There you are. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, just a heads up, my my mic might echo at times, so just a heads up.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
All right.
So, I got a question for you, Alex. What are your thoughts on reincarnation and beliefs? Do you believe you can be reincarnated? Are you skeptical? What are your thoughts and feelings on the subject?
I mean, I'm not gonna say that I am skeptical. I do believe in reincarnation, because I mean I've had beliefs in past history that, like, you know, Japanese people, they've they've reincarnated into stuff. Like, they're spirit animals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, for one thing, I do believe in it.
Right. Do you have any stories of reincarnation that you're aware of that made you first start to believe in the possibility of reincarnation?
I mean, I just stumbled across it based off of like YouTube videos popping up all over the internet about it. That's how I came to find out about it.
That's fair. So that's how I started to get into the whole reincarnation interest in things. Dorothy Edie was one of the first stories that I properly heard about, and she passed away and came back and claimed to be a completely different person when she was in the history museum. She was kissing the feet of pharaoh statues and things, of gods. She was very adamant that she was somebody called Seti, who'd been an ancient Egypt priestess named Ben Treshit. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it properly, Ben Treshai. I don't know the proper pronunciation. And she apparently lived in the temple of Abydos during the reign of Pharaoh Seti I. And at the age of 14 became his illicit paramour. She recalled taking an oath of chastity and loyalism that was disrupted when the king took a liking to her. After falling pregnant, she needed to protect Seti's honor, which saw her taking her own life before birthing the child, which is quite dark, but certain people do this. Japanese also have their, I think it's seppuku. Seppuku? I don't remember.
I think it's seppuku.
Yeah, they have their whole honor thing where they take a blade and put it into the stomach and slice across. So certain places do have these kinds of, I guess, strange to us but normal to them, because we completely grew up in a different society. They believe that it's a way of reclaiming your honor or punishing oneself for being dishonorable and needing to give up their life, essentially. But she was obviously met with wide disdain and skepticism on the whole subject, because obviously somebody just claiming, "Oh, I used to be, a king took a liking to me, and I'm from ancient Egypt, and I was a priestess." Everyone's going, "Ah, are you crazy?" Like people would be, because it's probably just somebody just being crazy, right? But she managed to put that doubt to rest when she led Egyptian archaeologists to the central garden within the temple of Seti I. It was a place that she supposedly dreamt of for a long time, and though it had been eroded and destroyed over time, she pointed out the exact plot of land. And after excavation, it was undeniable there was once a garden with her exact recollections of the tree types and arrangement in the unexplored spot. She described images which were never disclosed to the public with startling accuracy in pitch black darkness, and told other obscure yet accurate tales. Seti was accurate in the description of the water canals and the height of columns that no longer stood, translating some of the more arcane hieroglyphs with relative ease, which, that's crazy in itself. And many of the locals then started to fear her because of this, because of the lack of concrete psychological or spiritual explanation. How is this possible? There's got to be some, magic to it, or, something, depending on people's religious beliefs, maybe witchcraft or something. But she became the first woman in 1956 to work in the antiquities department at Abydos, and took residence in the temple itself as well. She would lead archaeologists to a tunnel north of the temple, which they're going to notice for decades. So the fact that she was able to know of this information that nobody else knew, point to these spots, and know where they were, know the size of the columns, being able to translate the hieroglyphs. That's crazy to think about. For somebody who lived in London. Like, she was pronounced dead in her family's London home at 3 years old, you know? And that's when she started, that's when she supposedly then became this SETI person and was talking about all this kind of stuff and knowing all this information and able to actually lead archaeologists to it. How else could you possibly explain that but reincarnation?
Yeah.
I for one thing, I actually have a story about that. It's the reincarnation part. There was this, and I found this on the internet, and it really blew my mind. But there was this, it was a young kid who claimed to be reincarnated. Right? It was a reincarnated young kid.
Yeah.
Who went over to this neighbor's house and pointed out that he was murdered.
Yeah, with an axe in his head. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah.
That really blew my mind, and he brought them to the gravesite and dug up the grave and pointed to his dead body, and I think it was axed to the back of the head.
I don't quite remember the placement when I was reading up about it, but yeah, it was somewhere in the head, exactly where he described.
Yeah, but I mean that just mind blows me.
Right. Yeah, it is incredibly mind blowing because there's no other explanation but reincarnation.
I think my earliest accounts of it came from my my brother. You know, him talking about things from a past that wasn't his. You know, like he was a toddler at the time, like 3 or 4 years old, just talking about all this, you know, technology and just other like things across the country that were accurate, but you know, he would have no knowledge of it at the time. You know.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my first, like, okay, you know, we start calling him Old Soul just because of that.
Right.
And, you know, kind of joked about it, but, you know, he doesn't do it as much anymore or at all, really. But back then, you know, it was like, you know, it was, you know, looking back at it now, it's like, well, maybe he did have a past life, or he does have a past life, and now that he's older, he doesn't remember.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think it'd have to be like. I think it'd have to be like a certain trigger event for it to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, when we're older, we have so many more experiences. Our brain's made up its mind on the world and things like that. I feel like as we grow, we do lose a lot. I mean, you don't remember everything from when you was a kid. A lot of that gets lost in the back of your mind and your memory banks, and sometimes you'll randomly recall something from your past that you couldn't remember previously because of something happening in your day-to-day life. So possibly it could be something along those lines.
See, I've had dreams where I've like, it's like weeks in advance, right? And I've had dreams of these events happening of like mere weeks, days, even possibly even years of like, you know, like ongoing everyday life.
Yeah.
But it scares me to think about that because that has never happened in my life. I've never dreamed of something like that at all.
Yeah.
Did you have any like triggers to make that happen? Anything like significant?
No, these are just random events, and it's like random dreams. It's like God or someone else is trying to show me like what's going on in the near future.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we discussed this last week on the episode of The Sixth Sense with possible dreams of future events and
the
some people
deja
even
vu and stuff and dream
deja.
states.
Oh
yeah. We had a massive discussion on that last week. Because I too also had experiences like that, where I think I dream of things and they'd happen. I dream of games that haven't even been released yet, and I'm playing them like I've done this. I was, funnily enough, I dreamt about the podcast. Podcast was never something I'd do because I never thought about ever doing a podcast. It was not really my alley, and Josh proposed the idea to me, and I'd already dreamt about it, which was weird. And
I just had I had deja vu 3 nights ago. No, like five nights ago. I had deja vu. I had a dream where I was at my work, driving around, and I crashed a vehicle. I fell asleep at the wheel and I crashed the vehicle. I don't know. I was driving around the couple nights ago, and everything was very similar, like the placement of the moon, things that were being said over the radio. Just very similar things just happening, like it was on repeat. So I pulled over. I pulled over off to the side, and I was like, "Hey, I'm taking a quick break." Got out the vehicle, stretched out a bit, waited for a little bit. Stuff that I didn't do in my dream. And I mean, the rest of the night went on as normal, but it was completely different than what was in my dream. So I take a lot of these like deja vu moments as a warning sign, because a lot of times in my deja vu, something bad happens. At least for me.
Yeah.
And I'll take that as a sign that, hey, I need to do something different to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, today's topic isn't supposed to be on this, so we'll get back on the actual topic shortly. But if you are interested, everybody, in that discussion, do not forget to go to last week's episode. It'll be up on YouTube. It's also on Twitch still. Twitch eventually removes videos, which is why we always upload videos onto YouTube, so they are permanently catalogued, essentially. And they'll never go away, so when they do eventually disappear from Twitch, you can find it there if you ever want to rewatch or hear the discussion, because deja vu, dreaming about future events and things, it's one of those things that you have to experience it to possibly, consider it to be real. Many people just, think you're full of rubbish and whatnot. But at the end of the day, millions of people around the world have these events. Deja vu is a very common terminology that a lot of people use because a lot of people have gone through it. So whether it's real or not, that's up to you to decide whether you believe in it. Maybe you've had deja vu and you just chalked it up to just nonsense or whatnot, who knows? But it is definitely a very interesting topic. But yeah, maybe it is like with reincarnation, with you getting a choice. Maybe it is a higher power that's behind these events, so to speak. A warning sign, maybe letting you remember some of the things so you can make different choices in your next life, or things of that nature, Maybe you made some mistakes in your past life, and that's why you can remember some things so you don't make the same ones. Or maybe, like you suggested earlier, Josh, that it's so we can develop our own different personality instead of reliving our past one. It's a very interesting thought to think of.
It's also scary to think of.
Yeah, it is quite scary in a way. But if you are getting a warning, at least at the end of the day, something's not looking out for you.
I talked in a previous episode about my near-death experience.
Yeah.
And, I didn't feel those typical emotions that I talked about earlier in our show here today. I was more just confused. Like, what is going on,
Yeah.
I wasn't angry, though, which was kind of weird. I didn't really have any feelings of anger or fear. It was just confusion. And I had this, like I said, it was like 6 stories tall. It was a massive figure. Very skinny and stocky, all dark and like black. And terrifying looking thing. but I had no fear of it. It wasn't like I was afraid of it. It was almost like it was there to guide me, and I was just kind of confused by what it wanted. So I guess when it comes to death, for me, I don't have a fear of death. I fear having a painful death. That's what I'm afraid of. I don't want to die suffering. I want to die peacefully. And when I do die, I feel like everything will be all right. Everything's okay.
Yeah. I think that's what we all want at the end of the day. I mean, no one wants to die burning alive or drowning and in a state of fear and panic. We all just want to kind of drift off in our sleep.
Experiences with my life so far and having my near-death experience, I've come to terms that death is not a bad thing. It's a part of our life, and our journey continues afterwards.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It's something we can't escape.
I know a lot of people fear it, but embracing it and accepting that it will happen, and living your life peacefully is the way to go about it. I think, and you start to feel better with yourself too.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as reincarnation, I have no idea if because like I said, I have no experiences with it other than other people's experiences.
Right.
So, I mean, if it happens, would I want to come back? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I might. It depends. I mean, the world's kind of a chaotic place right now, so I don't know if I'd want to come back right this moment. But, I wouldn't mind,
Probably want to come back in like 20 years, probably.
20 years, 200 years. I'd love to see what the Earth looks like in the future.
Yeah. That'd be dope. That's one thing I've always kind of secretly had a thing of, like, I'd love to be able to come back in the future and see how the world has turned out, what's become of it, what new technologies are about, how do people live their lives. It's always been something I've always thought about.
I live very vicariously through history books.
That's the same thing with me.
Yeah, I love history. I've went to school for history. I'm still going to school for history. I absolutely love it. I'd much rather have seen the past than I do care about the future, honestly. That's just my personal preference. Not that I'm saying I don't care for the future. It's just I care more for the past and learning about the past. I want to know the truths.
Yeah, and, what's been hidden from us, what's been cut out.
Growing up, I grew up in a family that's been military for generations, so I was always fascinated by wars, and that's what got me interested with history. And then I met my 11th grade history teacher, and he kind of taught me about following the money. Don't follow the wars. He goes, you follow the wars, you're gonna miss stuff. You follow the money, you find the truth.
Yeah.
So I started doing that and uncovering a lot more with history, and I feel like that goes for anything. I mean, it can even be applied to this topic. We look back in the past and history with reincarnations. You follow money. I'm sure you're gonna find many more stories about it than just talking about the subject itself.
Yeah.
Because the world revolves around currency, whether it be trade or actual money. But that's getting into some politics here. We'll stick to the reincarnation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was another story about a boy who was murdered by his dad. The child, I don't know the validity of it, but apparently a 3-year-old son told his mum that he liked his new daddy. And the mother was confused and replied, what do you mean you like your new daddy? And he's like, my old daddy was really mean. He stabbed me in the back and I died, but I really like my new daddy. He'd never do that to me. And just hearing that from a child's mouth is that's spooky.
That's a touchy subject. I mean, that brings up like paranormal type crap,
Yeah. I mean, but imagine your child say that to you. It's what would be going through your mind?
I'd be like, where did you hear this? Like, how did you find out about, like, what events happened to you?
So, there was a story for it was kind of going to tie into our Halloween one as well, but it involves this topic as well today.
Yeah.
So there was a, I guess this doll or whatever that was supposedly possessed, and it was supposedly this little girl who got this doll. It was left over in the house that they purchased, right? Kind of like the Annabelle doll type of thing, you know. And the girl was saying that it wasn't an evil demon or you know, something possessing it, but it was another person that was possessing it. The 4-year-old girl said that the doll was reincarnated. Well, it was a reincarnation of a person that was possessing the doll. So that is very interesting, because that's one of the only cases that of a person being reincarnated into an object that's not real, like not alive. You know.
Yeah. That goes back to another doll thing, right? Robert the Doll.
I haven't.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
No,
but,
I haven't.
I think it's down in the U.S. It's in one of the museums. If you look it up online, it's Robert the Doll, and it's in like a enclosed case. Sam and Colby, if you've heard of them, they've done a video on it multiple times.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what this is.
Yeah, they've done a video on it multiple times, and in each result, they've gotten back the same answer. And it was a guy who was oddly fascinated with this doll. He got it when he was a kid. I don't know what age, probably 7 or 8, maybe. But he definitely was intrigued with the doll. In his probably 40s, mid-40s, maybe 50s, his wife told him that the doll needed to go. Right? So he put the doll in the attic, and I think it was every night, he'd go up there and start talking to the doll as if he was talking to a person.
Yeah.
So I think Robert the Doll got that reincarnation from his maker.
That's interesting. So passing a soul into an object he created.
According to the one I saw, this little girl, she was talking to this doll as if it was a real person, saying that it was a human soul trapped inside the doll. And they brought a priest in, I guess, to do like a blessing of the house or whatever.
Like an exorcism?
Yeah, almost. Well, they ended up doing an exorcism on the little girl later on, because I guess she got possessed by something.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was after the priest came through to bless the house. Yeah, I guess whatever that doll was, whether it was another person or if it was a demon just pretending to be a person. That they had to do an exorcism on the little girl, and she passed away, I think, in her 20s.
Yeah, I've never liked dolls. Dolls have always been...
They're creepy.
Yeah,
they really are.
They're so creepy.
Which makes me think that women are creepy, because they love them. It's so weird.
I know, right? I was dating somebody who was obsessed with it, and she just buys so many dolls, and she's trying to make me hold them and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to hold your doll. I don't like dolls. You know, and, you know, it's not because I'm a guy or anything. Dolls are just scary as hell. I don't like them. Their eyes follow you everywhere. You know, things can possess them. I don't like dolls. I just don't. They've always freaked me out.
I got a story, not about a doll, but about an action figure, and I'll tell that on Halloween. But that's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
I'd love to join this on this discussion.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell it on our special. It's an interesting one. Call it paranormal or not, who knows? But
yeah.
But yeah, I've always wondered if people can reincarnate, you know, objects as well. You know, be reincarnated as an object instead of like a spirit
animal.
Yeah, spirit animal. I mean, what was it? Family Guy did something like that. Quagmire dies and he comes back as like a tampon. Yeah.
I've not seen that episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, his dream.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but I've always wondered if things could happen similar to that, or come back as like a doll or a tree or
Yeah.
something, because some people have that family tree in their backyard and they have like a loved one buried underneath it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I have a really interesting story when it comes to reincarnation. So this one, interestingly, was somebody who passed away with 6 children. She was pregnant and about to give birth to a seventh when she supposedly died, and she was able to track down her children when she'd been reincarnated, and supposedly had a very deep bond, and they could see their mother in the person, which is very interesting. Somebody called Jenny Cockle. So she was a British woman who knew from a very young age that she'd lived another life. So her previous name was Mary, a young woman who lived in Ireland in the 30s, and worst of all, her early death had left 6 children, unbeknownst to the seventh, helpless. Desperation that she could feel like was sort of like a weight on her because she remembers leaving these children behind. And 8 years old, she came to this realization she's not always lived in England and whatnot. And she kept dreaming about Ireland when it was wet during a time of hard work and survival. She was having visions of a past life in her dreams. And she always tried to live basically a normal life, but only a few people that she'd spoken to knew in reality that it felt like a half life because she's having these recollections of a past life of this person called Mary who she used to be. She knew the location of her house was near a stream. Her hands and fingernails were always dirty from the potatoes she was always growing and harvesting. She knew that she used to be a vegetarian. She wouldn't eat meat, and she would often go hungry. She'd only eat flour, bread, vegetables, an area near a railroad. And she died during childbirth at age 35. And her death was met with a lot of despair and whatnot. Because obviously these 6 children were not old enough to be on their own. They needed a mother, and she unfortunately had passed away and left them behind when she was Mary. So the BBC even covered this case as well, and to everyone's surprise, the repercussion reached Malahide, a small village in Ireland where a farmer identified Mary and his 6 children. Last name was Sutton, and she had died in the Rotunda Hospital in Dublin on October 24th, 1932, because of gangrene, pneumonia, and toxemia, and didn't leave but 7 children behind. So she had died, but the child she was giving birth to had made it. So there was Jeffrey in 1923, Sonny in 1924, Philomena in 1925, Christopher in 1926, Francis 1928, Bridget 1929, and Elizabeth 1932. The farmer tracked down the third son, Jeffrey in Ireland, who gave him the address of the 2 brothers, Sonny and Francis. And she contacted all of them. They ended up developing a very special bond with one of them. And through the memories and words, each of them realized this was their old mother. And the suffering that she'd been living with throughout her life, remembering these 6 children who she'd left behind and all this, was kind of washed away. Because knowing that her children had survived, even though they were old by this point and elderly, they'd live a full life, and they still remembered the mother, which is quite a beautiful story if you think about it. Being able to track down your children that you had that you never got to properly live a life with, and even though they were old, you still got to meet them again, and they were able to recognize you and realize that you were their mother at one point. It's crazy but beautiful at the same time, really. because you know I don't know how else you really explain that. Remembering all the children you gave birth to, not knowing your seventh was successfully conceived, and then find out your seventh was actually successfully conceived, and you're able to meet up again. That is just a crazy thing to think about. So, see, these stories are always fascinating.
I mean, just listening to it blew my mind.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know how to comment on it really. When it's just amazing and beautiful.
Yeah, and there's different versions as to like what people believe as far as this to work.
Yeah.
Some people believe, it's like you pass to a veil, and then you have an opportunity to pass to another one that can bring you back,
Yeah.
or have your eternal peace. Whereas others say no, it's just an automatic thing. You die and it's like a bright light and you're reborn.
Right.
And there's no real consensus, I guess, on any of this, other than a lot of people believe that this is just a fact. There is reincarnation that exists.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only common ground.
How else could you prove or disprove it? How do you possibly research it? You can't, other than the recollections and these people showing you things they shouldn't know. That's the only possible research we can do. We can't actually dive into it because
the closest truths that I could find to it are people with near-death experiences who said that this was their options.
Right. And that's all we've got to go of.
It's probably like God showed them like your option, right? Was to either go to heaven or have a second chance and do what you did wrong.
During my near-death experiences, there was two different lights. So this was like a blinding white light room I was in, and it was just like an infinite void. And there was a brighter white light that was coming from my left direction, and a dark red kind of, not dark red, but it was like a really saturated red glow. And they were both like almost like humming with the glow. No sound, but the pulsing of the light. And at my mind, at first, I thought this was heaven and hell, and I was getting a choice which to go to. Looking back at that now, I don't think that was the options.
Right.
I think the white light was a way for me to possibly be reincarnated, maybe. Whereas the red light probably would have taken me to, like, I don't know, something else. But I do know red's my favorite color as well.
Yeah.
So I think red was kind of like that representation of like
past life?
Going to my eternal peace was there.
Right.
And it was just it was red to attract me over there because that was my favorite color, and it's still my favorite color.
Yeah.
But the white light I think may have been towards a reincarnation thing. But a lot of times people said they're met by their loved ones. I wasn't met by that.
Yeah.
So then again, at the time, I didn't really have many loved ones that passed away yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely baffling.
Right.
Because how else do you make sense of it?
Yeah.
Unless you went through those doors, there's no way for you to know what was on the other side.
I literally stood right there in the middle, confused as hell, couldn't figure out what to do, and then I remember waking up and I was being choked up by my my comforter, my blanket. I had a string from it that was wrapped around my neck. I was choking.
Yeah.
So for me, that
I've never had any experience like that.
Yeah. Well, I toss and turn a lot when I sleep, so I just probably somehow got over my neck and started choking me in my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was my near-death experience, and that's what I remember of it. I'm sure there's probably more to it. I just don't remember.
I'm sure it was scary for you.
I wasn't really afraid. There was not a lot of fear. It was more just confusion.
Yeah.
After I came to, I was pretty afraid, like what was going on. But when I was there in that moment, there was no fear, I wasn't scared, even with this tall, towering figure over me. I didn't feel like I needed to be scared of it. Like it wasn't there to harm me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting more of a it's a guide sense, like it's guiding me in a path. Like whatever decision I choose, it's there to help me along the way.
Right.
So it's kind of like your guardian angel in a sense.
Kind of, yeah. The best thing I could describe it looking as like a messenger of death. Get it?
That's me.
Yeah. That's kind of like, it was like almost like a Grim Reaper type shape. A body. Couldn't see any like bones or anything. No figure or face to it.
Was it like a hooded figure at least?
Kinda. It was more just like a shade. Like a non-see-through shade.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that for myself because I've never personally had that experience, but I'm sure that if I ever have that experience, it would probably change my life and perception of seeing things, you know?
Right. And that definitely did for me. I mean, well, not at the time. It does now, but at the time I was a stupid teenager that, you know, didn't really think much of it. I just thought it was some nightmare at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of just went on with my life. And later on through my life experiences, I've started, like, thinking back at it and what the mannerisms and meanings behind things were.
Yeah.
And equating it to things that have happened in my life now, I think the right choice was just to stand there in the middle and continue living.
Because you were undecided at that point. You weren't ready to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've had my ups and downs, but I've had an amazing life so far since then. So, if God's real or whatever is out there, I thank them for every single day, every single minute, every single second.
Yeah.
Every single year.
Yeah, everything. All the struggles. I thank them for the struggles even.
Yeah, I'm 18 right now, and I just entered adulthood,
Right.
So at this point in time, it's fair game.
Yeah.
Like your choices, like there's no help from outside except for maybe your family and friends,
Yeah.
But anything you do beyond that is your choice.
Right. I mean, you still got a long life ahead of you. You're still very young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really start my life, I said, until I was about 23. So.
Yeah.
And that's because I was just doing dumb kid stuff still up until I was 23.
Yeah. Going to party and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I was partying, doing drugs, whatever have you.
Yeah.
See, I'm a good kid.
And then.
See,
Well, 23 is when I joined the Army, and I became a cop for them. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm changing my life around. I got to do something better in my life.
Oh, well, we thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, since I got out, too, I mean, like, my mental health has just significantly improved. And then just, now I'm just taking one day at a time and trying to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And then, if this reincarnation stuff is real, I'd like I said, I think I'd join some, hopefully, long time from now when I pass away. But I'll enjoy my my afterlife for a little bit, and then if I get a choice to come back, I would.
Yeah.
And then I can make some kid talk about all the crappy mistakes I made. Hopefully I can prevent the next person from doing all the stuff I did. That's why I became a cop in the first place, was to help kids and help people not go down the path I went.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what a lot of cops and law enforcement and military, they all try to do that. They try to steer clear from that.
Yeah, I was a very spirit of the law versus letter of the law guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to, like, if I could avoid putting you away or getting you hemmed up for something, I would.
Yeah.
And if I could offer some sort of resources to help you out along the path, I absolutely did.
Oh yeah, like what? Therapy,
Mhm.
anything like
I
that.
know this is a little off topic because we're going into the break here soon, but
Yeah.
my very first guy I pulled over, right, for speeding, right? Um,
hmm
I saw a finances for dummy book in his back seat, and he was a private first class, so I knew he didn't have a lot of money because I was a private first class at the time.
Yeah.
So I knew he didn't have a lot of money because I didn't have a lot of money. So I ran his information. Everything came back clear, valid, good. He wasn't in any trouble. I came up to his car and I said, "Hey man, do you mind stepping out of the vehicle for me? I just want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. Man to man, not cop to suspect here, just man to man."
Yeah.
And he stepped out and I was like, "Hey, is everything okay at home with you?" And he was just like, "No, I'm going through a divorce and my finances are not doing good and just there's a lot going on with him, right?" And this guy was going like 30 over the speed limit. So I was like, "All right, dude, look, I can't just let you walk away with nothing." All right. I was like, "Thank God we're in the military because I don't have to give you a ticket, but I can call your chain of command."
Yeah.
So I had him call his chain of command. I talked to him and I was like, "Hey, rather than giving your soldier a ticket here, get this guy into some sort of financial like readiness type classes.
Financial stability.
Yeah, financial stability stuff. Get this kid in the right path. Bring him to behavioral health. This kid needs help.
Yeah.
The underlying reason why he was speeding was because he was in an argument with his wife and he was heading home right now to go yell at her. That's why he was speeding. He wasn't paying attention.
That's never an option.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, this kid needs your help now. And he doesn't need to be going home right now.
Right.
To do all this. The home and his wife, that's not what's important right now. His mental health is what's important. Like, he's already losing his wife. He's probably going to lose the home. He needs to worry about himself. And that's
how he's going to behave and act, yeah.
Yeah. I ran into him 2 years later after that at the PX, and he thanked me for that night. And those are the kind of stories that resonate with me, and I try to keep and think about. So.
See, I've got
no tickets, nothing like that. Just help them out.
And see, I've got a friend that's going into the law enforcement soon. He basically told me that he was wanting to help people, right? So like save them from going down the wrong path, giving them therapy, any sort of like financial help, anything like that,
Right.
So I mean, because I was talking about it with him, and I told him, look, whatever you do, just make sure you don't turn into a corrupt cop or anything like that. That's going to be a bad look on you. But if you need anything, I'm here. Just give me a call, anything.
Yeah, I would say at least 90% of the cops out there are fantastic cops, and we thank them all for what they do, especially in today's day and age, because they get so much hate. But there's so many more that are just absolutely fantastic that don't get talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, I've run into like probably about 4 or 5 of them. They've all seemed chill.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of run-ins with them because I've been caught speeding here and there, and I mean I'm honest with them. I let them know exactly what I did wrong. I'm like, look, I screwed up. I accept my punishment. And a lot of times they just give me a warning because they're like, hey, you fessed up to it. You owned up to it. You understood what you did wrong. Go slower. Have a nice day.
Your compliance and all that, yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're not, know your rights still, but like, you don't have to be rude to them about it. They're people too. But yeah, just kind of want to leave a little personal story, I guess, at the end of this break here, and then back at top of the hour.
Yeah, we'll be back at the top of the hour. Have a good night, everybody. Put on your tinfoil hats. You never know who's listening, and We're back in 10 minutes.
And Alex, it was good having you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
I
for coming
appreciate
on to
it.
the show.
No problem, man. Take care.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Take it easy. Have a wonderful night.
There we go. All right, yeah, so we'll be back here at top of the hour.
Mm-hmm. welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Phenomenonormal podcast. We are carrying on with the segments, and today's subject is reincarnation and past lives. Please remember, we go live every other Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. US time and 10 p.m. UK time. All podcasts will eventually be uploaded to YouTube shortly after, so you don't forget to follow us on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a like and a comment. If you dislike the video, leave us a comment why and tell us so we can improve. We can only improve with your feedback. We also have a Discord you can join where you can possibly partake in some of our discussions and have discussions with us. It's a wonderful place to be. We're still working out the kinks, but it'll get much better as time goes on. Yeah. We had our first guest earlier, Alex. It was great to have him on the show, coming in and discuss with us. So if you join the Discord, you could also do the same.
Yeah. Or we just struggled with one of those kinks trying to get him on the show.
Yeah, that was the only issue.
I think we have it fixed now, though. We just did a test during the break, and yeah, I think we got it fixed now. So maybe next time we can just pull him right in.
Oh yeah. I'd like to remind everybody that we have a two-part special on Halloween where we'll be discussing ghost stories earlier in the day at 12 p.m. US time, which is 5 p.m. UK time, where we'll be discussing our experiences and others we've heard of, and at the usual time at 10 p.m. UK time and 5 p.m. US time, we'll be having the actual official podcast where we talk about the paranormal and ghosts and stuff to do with that topic. Do they exist? Are they here? Are they part of an electromagnetic field? Who knows? Tune in because you do not want to miss out some of our personal stories on that day. Anything else you'd like to add, Josh?
After the show here, I will be throwing a sneak peek at something for the Halloween special up on the Discord, so there's some incentive for you to go over there and join.
Ooh, make sure you see what the mystery surprise is. Join the Discord to find out.
So 9 p.m. here, I will be posting that in the Discord, so you will see a little sneak peek at the Halloween special.
Yes.
Again, the show will be live, so there won't be anything exactly about us talking about it, but there will be a picture that will be posted.
Yes. Because it is Spooktober, so there's ghouls and goblins and zombies and things will be lurking. You never know. Could be one under your bed right now.
You know why October is the best month?
Why?
Because it's my birthday month.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it your birthday?
It is my birthday next week on the next show.
Yes, it is. Yeah, next week.
Not only that, but we also have the 13th, Friday the 13th this month, in October.
Oh, yeah.
Halloween and my birthday, so it's just a spooky season all around.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So, I've got a question for you. So, we've talked about reincarnation in the past two segments, and stories of reincarnation, and about possibly eventually wanting to be reincarnated, but if you were to be reincarnated, what would you be reincarnated as? What would you like to become?
Oh, a dog, hands down. Absolutely a dog.
Yeah.
There's no other option for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have the best lives ever. You sit around either on the floor, your bed, your couch, the bed.
Yeah.
The owner's bed, whatever. You get fed. You get your walks in. You get lovins.
Yeah.
They have unconditional love because they give unconditional love. I would love to be a dog.
Yeah, it's the perfect life, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Honest,
some people would say cats because you're independent. I'm like, yeah, but cats can be mean. I don't want to be a mean person or a mean animal.
Right. Yeah.
Even if I was a cat, I'd be very much like a dog. Just make me a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd probably be right there with you. I'd love to be a dog as well.
I mean, because I don't need to live very long. I just want to live a happy life.
Right.
Happy, carefree life. I just want to be a dog. I don't really want to be one of those shelter dogs, though. I mean, I just give me a loving home.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah, I'd love to have somebody waiting around on me, hand and foot, feeding me, taking care of me. Being able to show them unconditional love and take care of them, knowing that I'm cared for, knowing that I care for them.
I'd be one of those dogs that are like, keep me away from children, though. Doesn't work well with children.
Yeah. To be able to look at my owner in the eyes and just let off a big fart.
I just
like, yeah, you smell.
Something about greasy, sticky fingers. I don't want them all over my body. No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched a funny. I know it's not really the topic, but I watched a funny video of a dog that was just looking at its owner after farting. It looks like it was like giving him the stink eyes. It's say, yeah, smell my flipping fart. Sorry, caught myself out. It was just the funniest thing. Like the dog just straight up just stared into his eyes as it let it rip. I was just like, that's the funniest thing ever.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, dogs are wonderful.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want to be any other animal, just a dog.
Yeah.
I'd be a bougie indoor dog.
I'd love to be a bird.
Bird, that.
Not. Just. You know, because I'll just be a bird that travels a lot. You know, flies around the world, sees things from a bird's eye view, and just has a look at things from a different perspective as well. Like, dog number 1, 2 would be a bird. Because it'd be a completely different way of living. You know? You just get to fly around, you see all these interesting things. Poop on people you don't like. Yeah, just fly by. It's a drive by.
Be a pigeon in New York. You get fed bread by the creepy guy that sits on the bench every day.
Yeah. it would be funny. But yeah, I don't know. I'd also like to be reincarnated as a sea life creature. You know, explore some of the ocean a bit and just.
Yeah, I think my second choice would be like a great white.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
Either a great white or a dolphin.
Yeah.
Just being able to swim the world's oceans and just see things from a different perspective and point of view. Because, you know, I've spent all my life living on land. You know, I want to see the other sides of things, sky and the ocean and things like nature. You know, I want another experience as well. What would it be like being completely dependent on the water? I mean, it's scary in the ocean. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. You know, all kinds of dangers, but being able to swim among like lost treasures or sunken shipwrecks, things like nature. You know, occasionally have an interaction with divers, possibly. You know, it'd be a very interesting thing. I'd like to be a great white or a dolphin, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe like an anglerfish. Let my inner self show my outer self.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be reincarnated as the immortal jellyfish because they just constantly the age up, and then the age back down, and the age back up. You'd be stuck. You'd be stuck in a never-ending loop.
Yeah, that's limbo right there.
Yeah, that's limbo, definitely. But yeah, definitely, it'd be very interesting.
I mean, even as another person coming back, you know, I wouldn't mind coming back like 200 years in the future, like I was telling you and Alex.
Yeah.
Just to see, like, you know, how far we advance and did the AI take over us yet? We'll talk about that next week.
Right. Yeah, definitely. You know, how far is AI integrated? Were we enslaved by the AI? Not being harvested for something?
The Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah. That's also a topic we will be getting into at some point. The Matrix, definitely. That will be the 25th session. Yeah, 25th is a Wednesday. That'll be my host again when I host it, and we'll get into the Matrix and computer simulations. And are we in one? You know, there's a lot of theories about that. It's very interesting. The AI discussion next week is going to be very interesting as well. Yeah. So make sure you tune in.
And then we'll get into the spooky talks.
Oh yeah, on Halloween. Ooh. But I mean, you know, it'd be crazy. What if ghosts are actually animals?
That's an interesting theory. Well, I don't know, because they say animals are able to sense ghosts.
Yeah, I know. Well, imagine if all this time they were actually animals and we just didn't know. But an interesting thing would definitely be reincarnated as either a bird or a sea life creature after becoming a dog for me. Get to see all different perspectives.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like to be.
I would just love being a dog. God, that'd be
What
great.
What would you not want to be reincarnated as?
As an animal? Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Any insect, really.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, any insect. I would not want to be that.
Yeah. You get stepped on by everything.
Yeah.
You're constantly in a fight for survival every 2 seconds.
Yeah. Nah, not even then. Because even, like, spiders, like, they fight each other and eat each other.
Yeah. You're just like chilling, having a nap, and another one just comes along, just going, "You're my lunch." Well, right.
Yeah, nah. I would just no insects. No.
Yeah. But, oh no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, save that for the bad people who live bad lives. Make them insects.
Yeah, make them insects. Yeah.
I'm not saying I led a bad life. I'm just saying I've made mistakes and I owned them.
Yeah.
Like, look, I made my mistakes and I've done a lot of good as well, though. So.
Yeah.
I don't think I lived a good enough life yet to say I want to be a dog, though. I would just love to be one.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be awesome. I'm not. It'd be cool to be a parrot. To a degree, I feel like that'd be a cool bird to be.
I've seen that.
As a parrot.
That one video there, the first person to discover a parrot.
That's not one.
I'll have to show you that later. It's funny. It's got cursing in it, so I won't play it.
Yeah.
He's like, what? He's like, what the frick? And the guy's like, what the heck? He's like, what the frick? You know, the parrot's like mocking him and saying what he's saying.
Yeah. I would not want to be a monkey though. Definitely not a monkey. Because monkeys are brutal.
Yeah.
They are absolutely brutal. The way they attack in a group.
You know what? I want to be reincarnated as a unicorn.
The origin of the unicorn. One day, Narwhal was looking at a horse and said, "I want to screw with that."
I've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if they did the same thing with the rhinos. They saw a hippo.
Yeah, hippos are incredibly dangerous.
God, who's that content creator there? He portrays how different dog breeds are.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. But yeah, he was like dogs going on to Noah's Ark. Noah's like, didn't I just let you on? He goes, oh no, see, that was a golden retriever. I'm a golden Labrador. he's like my distant cousin. He goes, well, I already let 2 on, so I don't think I can let you on. He goes, don't make me get out the big guns. And then it shows him as a Chihuahua. He's like, I will cut you if you don't let us on.
Yeah.
And then they showed like all the mythical creatures and everything. He's like, hey guys, I can't make room for you. That's why they don't exist no more, because they had to let all the dog breeds on.
Do you believe that about soulmates? Because soulmates is an interesting thing to talk about with reincarnation. Do you believe there is a soulmate that you may meet in multiple lives, like a friend or a loved one that you'll always meet up with in a future generation or life that you may?
I think it's possible. There's a possibility of that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm still single, because, my past lives never had anyone interesting in their life.
I know, right? Same here.
Well, not really single, but yeah, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Not married.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get married, but I'd like to believe that you could possibly have a soulmate, but then I'm sat here like nearly 30 now, and I'm sat here like, where the hell's mine? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, it's one of those, but
Yeah. I can get a little off topic with it, but I mean, dating these days is completely different than dating back in the day. I think social media and these dating apps ruined it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, social media and dating apps and all these, profit for showing off your body apps and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's what kind of ruined it for a lot of people. I mean, guys want a traditional woman, and a lot of guys who want to settle down, they want traditional women, and traditional roles, and a lot of women. Not to say that there aren't traditional women out there, but there's a lot these days that aren't.
Right.
But I mean, there's non-traditional men too, so I don't want to just bash on women with that.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, but from a guy's perspective, I'm seeing it more with women.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I mean, one thing I'm curious about is when it comes to reincarnation. If we were to be reincarnated, let's say I decided I wanted to take a break in the afterlife, would I get to come back and change my mind at a later date and then go, you know what, now I want to go back?
So according to different beliefs, that's a possibility, is that you don't have to come back right away. You get to choose when you want to.
Yeah. Right. And that's an interesting one. Because, the thing is, with me, I wouldn't want to be reincarnated right away. I think I'd like to see life from the other side, then be reincarnated after, a bit of a break from the troubles of life. Because, life, as great as it is, it's also stressful. I'd love a nice vacation from life for a bit, and then possibly then come back. Personally, if I was ever to be reincarnated, because.
So here's the theory too that I kind of believe. I think that everyone, when you're born, you're not necessarily a reincarnation of a past life, because these past lives suggest that there's a set number of souls.
Right.
Right. But yet our population on this planet goes up every single day. Every day it goes up. Right. So that means new souls have to be created. Right.
Yes.
So my belief is that every single person, past, present, in future, right?
Yeah.
We're all our own individual soul, right?
Right.
Not to say that. So for reincarnation, I believe it's another soul that's intermingled with your soul. Like they're joined with you. They're a part of you.
Right.
Almost as like they're your not past life, but they're your they're like your guide in life. They decided that they want to help you out.
Right.
For whatever reason, right? So they become a part of you still. You're still have your own separate soul, but they're intertwined with yours.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So like maybe that 2-year-old there that said I was a pilot or whatever. Maybe it wasn't him, that 2-year-old that was, but the soul that's intertwined with his soul is.
Right. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, but the kid can't distinguish the difference. So to him, that was like, oh no, that is me.
Or a part of him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a part of him, but it's not him per se.
Yeah, because that's the only issue with the whole souls thing. Reincarnating your soul into another body and whatnot is. Well, if we're always constantly reincarnating, then how are new people being born? Where are these new souls coming from? How are they being created? It's one of those things where it's like, well, where do these new ones come from? Who's creating them? Why are they creating them? Do they get some benefit out of creating them? I mean, eventually we're gonna reach a point where there's too many of us for the planet eventually.
So they predict that this planet, right? So this is what's crazy, right? And I'm not gonna try and stay out of political talk with this. These eco people want us to be down to like 1 billion to 500 million people. That's what they want our population to be at, to say that's what Earth can sustain, which means they want to kill all these people somehow, some way, which is insane to me that they want to genocide that many people.
Exactly.
But scientists who actually know what they're talking about, and not politicians on this, not the scientists who are paid off by the politicians, but the actual scientists who've done research on this, say that the Earth can sustain up to 14.5 billion people.
Right.
14.5. Yeah. We are at 8. We can sustain more.
Yeah.
And if we were working as a globe, we could also feed and house every single one of these people for 14.5 billion people.
Oh yeah.
If we worked as a global world, which in my opinion would not work unless there was some sort of dictatorship with a good dictator in power, not an evil one. We need a free society with someone who can run and manage all this. It's the only way it would ever happen, but we could sustain 14.5 billion people easily.
Right.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, they say birth rates are dropping massively
certain places.
Now.
Certain places.
In certain places, yeah.
The birth rate overall is still going up.
I believe China's having a bit of a low amount of babies born or something.
Yeah. America, the United States is in the positive, but we're about breaking even. People are having about 1.2 children, which I don't know how you have a 0.2 of a child, but that's the rate. It's about 1.2. I think England's having like a 1.1.
Right.
China's having the deficit. Russia's having a deficit. Japan's having a deficit. Africa's having a baby boom.
Yeah.
All over Africa, not everywhere in Africa, but certain places they're having baby booms.
Yeah.
Where they're having like 3 to 4 kids per family.
Right.
Which, I mean, is great. You know, it's absolutely great that, you know, they're picking up the slack for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of like Eastern and Western worlds, and not so much in the Central or Europe or Africa is, but Western world is more stagnant. They're growing at a slow rate. Eastern world, they're kind of declining quite a bit. And Africa's booming right now.
Yeah.
Which, but I mean, the birth rate overall, I mean, we're having more births than deaths every single year still as a planet, which, is great. I'm happy for that, as much as I'm not a kid person at all. I don't hate kids. I just, I don't want kids of my own.
That's fair.
But, I think it's a good thing, because these evil people want to kill us all. And if we keep having kids in the world, then we're making them mad. So good job, people.
Yeah. So in regards to the reincarnation topic and, getting that choice, do you think evil people get a choice? Or do you think they are locked?
So I grew up in a Catholic family. Not practicing Catholics, but they were Catholic family, right? My mom, my dad.
Yeah. Same.
My mom went to Catholic school and stuff. I always believed in the heaven and hell for quite a while until I started learning about religion on my own. I actually took some religion classes in college as electives, just honestly because I thought they would be easy, and they were. But it was also a way to kind of delve into religion because I was very atheist, agnostic, kind of, And I don't know. I have my own set of beliefs now for the afterlife or a heaven or hell. I don't believe there's a heaven or hell. I still don't believe that. I don't even necessarily believe there may be a God, but there is an all-powerful entity still.
Yeah.
There's no evil entity out there like a devil. I don't believe in that. I believe that this one powerful entity, like I said prior, is not all good. It's good and evil. It's a neutral. It prefers good and the good in people, but it's a neutral entity. So when someone evil, say like I don't know, Stalin or Hitler died, I don't believe that they went to hell.
Right.
I believe they were placed in front of this all-powerful void or being or whatever, and they were judged. You're judged for your actions, and you have to come to terms with it and understand that I was wrong. I caused so much pain and hurt, and you have to forgive yourself before others can forgive you. Because once you pass on, from what near-death experience people say is you don't have any animosity towards anyone anymore. You don't have any hate or guilt or fear. You just own what you did, and then you get to pass into your afterlife and be happy. So I believe that was the case for them, is that even how evil they were here, that's not who they are after death. We're thinking as humans, not as another plane of existence and what we are when we pass on, right? So I believe in that now, that they would be given a chance to be reincarnated, and they'd probably choose different actions. Because especially if they remember anything of that, okay, I was judged harshly and I was wrong and I was evil. Maybe I can make a difference in this new life.
Yeah.
And they get a second chance. I'm a firm believer everyone deserves a second chance, no matter how evil they are.
Right.
You could be the most evil, vile, disgusting human being on the face of the planet and do horrible things, but if you're really sorry and you have that remorse and you want to make things better, you might be doing it the rest of your life, or even afterlife, but you deserve that chance.
Right.
So that's how I feel.
Another question.
I had my second chance, and I'm hoping that I'm doing the right thing by it.
Yeah. Do you believe that it's only here we're reincarnated, or do you believe there could be possibility of other places in the universe that you could be reincarnated?
Oh, I believe anything that's living. Anything that's has a soul. Anything that's living has a soul could be reincarnated if that's the chance. Whether it be aliens or whatever. That's why these religious beliefs of reincarnation, where some I believe is it Hindu or Buddhism that believe that there's a set amount of souls and that's it. I think they're wrong. I think they're absolutely wrong. I'm not trying to say that your religion's garbage or fake. I'm not. If you believe in that, cool. I don't believe that, though. I think it's wrong. I think that there's an infinite amount of souls. Everybody is their own independent person. I'm certainly not anyone from the past. Not that I know of. I don't think I have any reincarnated soul intertwined with mine, because I don't have no memories of anybody else other than my own.
Right.
So, and I've never had that.
I mean, the thing is with me, is I've not really got any memories of a past life, but I have this inkling that I was once somebody important. At one point. Not now, but I have this odd inkling that I was somebody important at one point. What I was, I don't know. Whether I was somebody well respected, a leader of sorts, who knows? I really have no idea.
You were Vlad the Impaler. Dracula himself.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I've always had this weird feeling that I was once somebody important. There's always been that feeling in me that, I used to.
See, I have
more than I am now.
I have a different belief, or a different feeling, kind of opposite to yours. I have a feeling that I am destined to be somebody. That I am destined to have some importance. Now, I don't know if this is just ambition or ego or what, but I feel like there's something I need to do to become somebody.
Right.
And whether, reincarnation is real and that it won't happen in this life and the next life, maybe it might happen. But I have this feeling like I will become something. One day, somehow, I don't know when.
Yeah.
But I feel like somehow I will become somebody.
Yeah. I mean,
but I don't think I was. I don't think I was anything. Like I said, I don't have any recollection of any kind of past lives or nothing. I don't feel like if there was any, I was anything important for myself.
Yeah.
But I think in the future, I will be somebody. Even if it's not of significant importance, I'm gonna be a somebody.
Yeah.
My goal is to be. In this world, there's two people, right? Everybody's like, oh, there's three types of people. There's two types of people. There's two to me. There's the haves and there's the have-nots, right?
Right.
And I'm a have-not. I'm a have-not right now. You're a have-not.
I'm a have-not, yeah.
Most of us are have-nots. Unless you're some political elite or a famous movie star or something, you are a have-not.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But you can become a have.
Yeah.
You can.
Definitely.
You just have to have that goal, that drive, that ambition to do it.
Like, I've got that belief that...
I have that belief that I will be a have one day. And looking at my life right now, where I'm at, I think I'm on the right path to it.
Yeah. I believe, someday I will become a successful YouTuber. Now, am I expecting to be somebody... am I expected to be somebody with like tens of millions or whatnot? No. But I believe one day I could get to about 1 million subscribers, entertain people, bring joy to people's lives. One day I'll be able to accomplish that.
I did the math on my budget, right? And it's going to take me about 18 years with the rate I'm going, and if I spend $0 in 18 years, I would be a millionaire.
Right.
Now, that's not reality. So,
no.
I got to spend stuff. So I would probably say within about 30 years from now, I will be 60-something years old, I will be a millionaire at the rate I'm going.
Right.
30 years.
Yeah.
So I'll be 60, going on 62 almost. So I'll be 32 here in a couple days. But 62 years old, I would be a millionaire.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm not rich. $1 million ain't that much, but it's enough. Because at that point, I'd be a millionaire with my own home.
Right.
Owned in full.
Yeah. I mean,
so I'd have $1 million point something in the bank. And a home that's paid off.
Yeah.
And by that point, I could do whatever I want with that $1 million for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I mean, what I've always wanted at the end of the day, this is my life's ambition. This is what I truly want out of life. I want to live comfortably. I want to have my own place. I want to have a family. And that's all I've ever really wanted. That's literally what I want out of life. I don't want to be rich. If I won the lottery, it wouldn't make me happy.
Up until about 2 months ago, I was living 3 months ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah.
I just want to live my life to where I can go to the store and buy a Monster and a Snicker, and not be fearful that my card's going to get declined.
Right.
That's what I want. That's it.
Yeah. I want to be able to afford the things that I need, not the stuff I want. I don't want to just be able to just go out there and just buy whatever I want all the time. The stuff I need and still be okay.
So I'm a man of simple taste. I really am. I don't need nothing big. A $300,000 home. That's not a big home, right? A plot of land, out in the country, right? I don't need a boat. I don't need an ATV. I just need a vehicle that runs, that home, that plot of land, and then to go out and be like, you know what? I want this. I don't know, some food for something, or I don't know, I saw a new computer part that I want to buy, and I'm like, I want that, and I can go buy it, no fear. That's all I want. I'm not looking to say, oh, I want this $30,000 thing and buy it with no fear, but a couple $1,000s, I'm gonna drop it $8,000 on the graphics card. Why not? Because I can. That's where I want to be in life. I'm not there yet, but I will be. I will be one day.
Yeah.
And when I'm at that point that day, that's when I know, okay, I'm a have. At least a have in my opinion. I may not be a have to the world, but I'm a have in my opinion.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I'm good, for the rest of my life. I'm like, you know what? I just dropped $8,000 on a graphics card. What am I, crazy? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I want to get to a point of old age where I can say, I've enjoyed my life. I've had a good one. Mostly, my past has been mostly negative. I've had a lot of bad experiences. and whatnot. But one day I want to be able to look back and go, it was a rough start, but I've got somewhere, and I'm living a good life now, and I've enjoyed my life. I don't want to get to the point where I'm 60 and I'm like, oh no, I'm having a good life. I want to be able to say, I was able to live a good life in my adult years.
And that's what I was talking about when Alex was on the show with us. So I said, I lived a great life. I could say that now. Like, for me, I've lived enough experience in my life now to where if I was on my deathbed, is there more I want to do? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But if I was on my deathbed right now at 31 years old and saying, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow, I could look back now and say, I am happy with my life. I could say that right now to myself. I lived a happy and good life.
Whereas I'm the opposite.
Yeah, and I started making that change when I was about 28 years old. So not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I started the change at 23. I didn't really start focusing on that change until I was 28, and now I'm at a point in my life right now where it's like I can look back and say I lived a decent life. I'm happy. I am content with that life. If I was to die tomorrow, I would die a happy man.
Yeah, I mean, it's also 28 when I kind of had the big change because, I'd always done a bit of YouTube, stuff like that. My PC broke. I didn't have a PC for years, and I was starting to get somewhere on YouTube, and it really bummed me out. And then I got this PC, and I was like, I'm going to start doing videos, but because my headspace was in such a bad place, I just couldn't really get to it. But when my best friend tried to kill me, something switched.
So
it was at that point that something switched in me, and that's when I got proper serious, and I was like, I can't just keep sitting around. I need to do something. I need to do my YouTube. It's what I've always wanted to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it into a career someday as something that I enjoy doing to entertain people, not for the money, but because I want to bring content for people to just sit back, enjoy at the end of the day, watch me play, have a chat, have a great laugh. I want to make people happy. That's what I want to do. And it wasn't until that happened that something switched in me. Now I went into the head game. I was like, I'm doing this. I've got to stop sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I need to do something. I got away. And so far, up until this point, things have been not great for me for the most part. I met a few wonderful people like you, Michael, and whatnot, but the rest of my life mostly has been just sadness for the most part. Always being bullied, picked on, especially for my mental disabilities and whatnot. I was always the kid that was on his own, didn't really have any friends. I was always somebody who was always just in a bad headspace because of it. And most of the time I'd mope around, I'd wake up going, oh, I've woken up again. Because I didn't want to wake up. But the funny thing was, when I had these thoughts that I didn't want to wake up, and I didn't want to be here. I wouldn't care if I was just going my sleep. It wasn't until the night that my best friend tried to kill me that my brain was like, I don't want to die. I want to live. I need to do something with my life. I need to get on track with what I want to do. I need to pursue what I want to do. It was weird because that just snapped a switch in me and just turned me on in the sense of getting my head in gear. And I've been dealing with a lot of loss of pets and things like that have come along during my journey through YouTube. I grew over 300 subscribers last year, which was huge for me. Because I'd never had growth like that on YouTube, I never really got any views in the past and whatnot. And I've continued and I've persevered and I've kept going and I'm going to keep going and I'm going to look back and I'm going to go, I did it. I pursued my dream, I've followed it, and I've done it. That's what I want to be able to say at the end of it, Brought joy to people, put a smile on people's faces, something I've always wanted to do. I've lived life the way I've wanted to, and I've enjoyed it. That's what I want at the end of the day. I don't think I'd want to be reincarnated till I've achieved that. you know?
Yeah, I gotcha. You know, knowing me, I'll probably get reincarnated as a toothpick.
Yeah.
I'm typing away over here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's there picking, and somebody's using you to pick the teeth, just throws you in the trash. Well, that's my life now. Yes, that's some island barge, middle of nowhere. I definitely would like a relaxed life in my next one. Just being a dog, just being taken care of, not having to worry or stress, just being cared for, caring for them. I feel like that'd be a great break for me once this life is over, if I had a choice of reincarnation.
Yeah. I'd definitely pick the dog over every other animal, though. I know we're getting off topic and just kind of
I know.
going around with random things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way, it is kind of related, though, because, you know, if we are going to be reincarnated, we want to at least have enjoyed the life before, so it's still relative. Um, in that sense, because that's all any of us really want. We want to live our life the way we want to live it. We want to enjoy our life. That's something all of us want in life. We want to enjoy it. And if I get reincarnated and I've not gotten to enjoy this life, that's kind of depressing in a way. Because that'll mean that my life has been mostly sadness and pain rather than something good and happy in that sense, you know?
Right, right. But I don't know, man. The reincarnation stuff, it's a very interesting topic. I don't know what to believe in necessarily with it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
It is hard to say, yeah.
On one hand, do I believe in it? Yeah, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But
There's a part of me that believes, a part of me that's still skeptical. So I wouldn't say I'm a true believer, but I do believe that it could be a possibility, and I'd like for it to be something that is definitely a thing. I mean, these stories that I've, you know, read up on and heard about and whatnot do lead me more to the believing side rather than it being a hoax. Just because there's just some things that these people just couldn't possibly know and somehow knew and were able to do things which is unexplainable. Like with Dorothy pointing them to the exact spot places used to be from thousands of years ago. Like, how the hells do you explain it but reincarnation, you know? It's stuff like that that makes me think, you know, reincarnation might actually be a thing. But at the same time, there's a lot of stories that could just be people mentioning things and the child has heard it and then he said, oh, this and that and this and that. Or seen something on TV or something of that. Because, you know, you think about when you're a child, think about the amount of things that have been on TV. You know, there's thousands of shows that have been on TV. Goodness knows where they could have got that information from. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, you know, there's a possibility some of these kids could have heard these things and that's why they knew certain things, you know.
all right.
But the Dorothy one just has me going, how? How does she know where this location was?
I mean, so reincarnation has been around for, good God, forever.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like a theory of it. I mean,
Yeah.
in India they believe that when their dead pass away, they get reincarnated as cows or something like that. They see their cows as maybe not reincarnated as them, but they see their cows as like this. They don't necessarily worship the cow. They see them as their ancestors.
Right.
There's a comedian. He said that he was. I think it was Gabriel Iglesias actually. Yeah. He was in India doing a show, and he was getting a taxi ride to the show, and he ended up late to the show because there was a car accident, right? And some guy, I guess, passed away and died in the car accident, and everybody was slowing down and everything. He goes, he was complaining the whole way going to the show,
Yeah.
And then on the way, he said the cab driver just stopped in the middle of the road, and he's like, "What are we stopping for?" He goes, "There's a cow crossing the road." He goes, "Well, go around." He goes, "I can't. I'm not allowed to." And he goes, "Well, why?" Then he explained to him how they believe that when the dead pass on, they come back like as a cow or whatever. And then he goes, "It's probably the guy. It's probably the guy who just died on the highway." So show some respect, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So that was like the joke of it. He's like, "Oh, it's probably him. Show the respect."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I really hope reincarnation is a thing, though. Definitely. I really hope it is something that happens. It does give you the chance to experience other things, but the ever looming question would be for me in the end of it all is, would I be able to look back all my past events? So what I mean by that is, like, if I was to pass on, for example, and decide this is it, I'm not going to reincarnate anymore, could I see all my previous lives and experiences that I'd been through in the past?
From what I've read on religious basis on this, all this comes down to a lot of religion, but
yeah,
is that when you pass, right, for your time in that veil, that's when you can see it all.
Right.
Right? But when you come back, you only remember who you were.
Right.
Right? Or you become that new person, but you also have your memories from your past life of what you just were. So whatever your life like right now is, you'd remember all that, and you'd be this new person.
Right.
And that's supposedly how that works, but you forget all the other past ones prior to that. So if you had a past life now, like someone that, you remembered their memories of, you wouldn't remember those ones.
Right.
Supposedly. I guess that's how it's supposed to work. There
Very
are some cases where people remember, multiple lives. So I don't know, maybe it's just a connection some person has. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows how that works.
Yeah. I mean, how can we,
Right. I mean, you're talking about something that happens after someone dies. We don't know, because none of us here on Earth right now have died. Not like really died. Some of us have had near-death experiences or been close to death or have died and been brought back, but not like really died. Like our soul hasn't I guess left the body completely.
Yeah. Fully moved on and whatnot. I mean, maybe we're just never meant to know.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, maybe that being out there, this powerful entity or whatever it is, maybe it intentionally doesn't want you to know. It gives you glimpses and little bits of information.
And the closer we get to science as well right now too, with research and this type of stuff too, is the closer there's the argument that God or this all powerful beings is irrelevant. Right?
Right.
So, the astro fields of study and stuff, like they say that there's different classes of civilization, right? And I think we're almost out of class 1, I believe. Class 1 is like being able to go to anywhere in our universe, right?
Right.
Class 2 is being able to harness the power of your sun or your star. Class 3 is being able to do that to other systems, solar systems.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're almost at a class 1 civilization. We're near there, right? I would say by the time we get to a class 2 civilization, we've harnessed the powers of at least a mediocre god. I mean, if we're able to harness the power of a star, I mean, and then, top of that with what we're doing, we're creating life in the form of AI, in the form of gene splicing and gene pooling.
Yeah.
To where it's like, it's going to be like in Fallout or Bethesda games, where it's like, who are you? And you get to pick your traits and who you want to be. What you want to look like. We're getting to that point to where it's like, oh, I want my baby to have blonde hair. I want my baby to have, hazel eyes. No defects on the face. We're getting to that point in life.
Right.
And then the next port would be like, oh, I want them to be good at public speaking. And they're going to be able to implant that into the fetus.
Right.
So are we essentially taking the soul aspect out of our being and just putting science in its place? We came into this planet and came into life and existence as a spiritual animal, essentially. We were very spiritual, and we're getting away from that now, and I think that's why another cause of a lot of depression in the world today.
Right.
But oh shoot, we are at a break.
Yeah, we're finish what you were gonna say real quick, and then we'll pop
so I feel like we're getting away from the spiritual aspect of humanity. Where I mean, like, I'm not a very religious person either, but I have religious tendencies.
Right.
I'm a very spiritual person still at heart. And I started, especially seeing the climate of the world today. I wanted to get in touch more with, quote unquote, a god. With the creator of all this. I wanted to get more in touch with this and be like, look, what is my purpose in life? What am I doing here? I feel like everything's crumbling and burning around me. I need guidance. And since I started doing that, I felt a lot more calm and peace in my heart. So I think we're meant to be like that. We're supposed to be spiritual.
Right.
You can respect the science and understand the science and want to continue to thrive towards that, but you got to remember your spiritual side.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that equally.
Yeah. Right, we're at 52 minutes in, so I say we come back at 2 minutes past the hour.
Yep.
So we'll take our 10-minute break. We'll come back at 2 minutes past the hour, everybody, and we'll continue the discussion. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting.
Alright. See y'all soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Phenomenonormal podcast. Tonight's subject is reincarnation and past lives. Please remember we go live every other Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. US time and 10 p.m. UK time. All podcasts will eventually be uploaded to YouTube shortly after, so don't forget to follow us on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host today, Aaron, and this is my co-host for tonight, Josh.
Yo.
I'd also like to remind everyone, we do have a Discord where you can join to discuss topics with us, share your experiences, and even participate in some of our discussions. It's relatively new, so we're still working out the quirks, but hopefully with enough time, it'll be a wonderful place to be with all of you in there with us. Also, another important to note, we are running a two-part special on Halloween where we will be discussing ghost stories earlier in the day at 12 p.m. US time, which is 5 p.m. UK time, where we'll be discussing our experiences and others we've heard of at the usual time, as well as a little bonus. And we will also be doing another podcast at the usual time, discussing the paranormal itself. You do not want to miss that. And with that all said and done, do you have anything else to add, Josh?
I'm really excited for October 31st. It's going to be a great time. If you need to show up for that and bring your friends along too. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, yeah. Got some very interesting stories to tell. True stories as well.
Oh, yeah.
You can believe me or not, but...
I got some ghost stories, and then but even got a couple clips ready for you as well to show you. Let you decide for the clips on yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful night. So, we were talking about reincarnation.
Oh, one more thing to add with that too. After the show today, I will be after I upload the video and everything too on Discord. Join our Discord. There will be a sneak preview for the October 31st show as well for the special.
Oh yeah.
It will be under the paranormal section on Discord.
Yes, make sure you check that out because it should be a blast. In regards to reincarnation, we've told a few stories and we've talked about our thoughts and feelings and what we'd like to turn into and what do we think happens to the evil people? Do they get reincarnated? Do they get left behind and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. In typical fashion, we've gotten off track a couple times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's bound to happen, you know. At the end of the day, it's all just a discussion.
Two hosts with ADHD, it's bound to happen.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's just
and I'm drinking coffee too, so.
I'm on energy drinks. I can't stand the taste of coffee. You know, so maybe when I get reincarnated, I might like coffee, and it'll be easier for me.
Fuck the outside again. You can't stand the taste of coffee because you're not American.
Hey, Britishness has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, get your tea over there. By the way, their tea is amazing. I had it myself when I was there.
Oh yeah. And he learned the ancient art of the British tea dunking, and he loved it.
It was a great time.
Yeah. But yeah, so how come when people are reincarnated or supposedly reincarnated, how come they seem to have this like obsession? They seem to have like this obsession to learn about their past selves or see their past experiences. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because for them it's an unknown. You know, like they have these memories, they have these experiences in their head, and they want to know more about it. Like maybe it's glimpses that they get. I can't speak from experience, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think they have these experiences, they have these memories, and it's not complete memories. So they look up that person that they were, and they try to learn more about that person, so that way they have a better understanding, and maybe they connect more with them.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's my thoughts as well.
I'm thinking like, what would I do if I had that? If I had some memory of somebody, I would want to know more about them. Just to kind of figure out like who are they? Why am I the one getting their experience? You know.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a fear of the unknown. As humans, we fear the unknown. The unknown is scary to us, but we're also kind of mesmerized and obsessed with it as well because we want to know what it is.
Yeah. Next week's topic is a prime example of that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Nobody knows about AI, which is what we'll be talking about next week, no one knows about it really, other than what we currently have, and it's not even true AI yet. But we'll go into that next week. But I mean, yeah, we don't know about it yet. We want to know more, so we keep researching more, and everybody thinks it's the mark of the beast.
Right.
You know, and it's like, well, we don't know. It's an unknown, so people are fearful. But it could be our savior as well.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, so we can kind of see into the future sometimes, depending on we talked about deja vu last week, Sixth Sense, where people have dreamt about things that have actually come to pass. But we can't see that far into the future and just go, oh, I'm gonna look into the future and just find this out. So until it actually happens and it's fully realized and fully upon us, we won't know what to expect. And the thought behind it is terrifying. At the same time, it's very interesting, exciting, but also a very scary thought as well, because the possibilities of what this AI could do. It's much faster than us, it can become much smarter than us, it can process more information than us, remember more information than us. It has so many advantages on us, we kind of become obsolete in comparison.
It could also give us time for more leisure.
Oh, definitely.
Rather than having to bust our butts at a job that none of us like to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have a very interesting discussion on this next week, so you do not want to miss out. We've got a lot to talk about on it.
But yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I have some experiences with a past life, but I just... I don't have any of that, so it's hard for me to talk about something where I have no connection to.
Right. See,
it's just I could try to think like, okay, if I was in that position, what would I do or say or think, but it's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
It is. I mean, like when it came to talking about deja vu and things like that, last amount of experience, so it's a lot easier for me to just talk about it because I've been through an experience. Whereas this, I've never had this experience of a past life, or been able to remember who I once was. So for me, trying to wrap my head around it is quite difficult. And all we can really do is look at an outside lens and try and view from their perspective what could possibly be going through in their mind. They've seen all these images. They want to know why. Who is this person? Were they me? Why do I remember me from the past? What significance does it hold to me now? There's so many questions that pop into your head on the whole topic. It's just one of those an exciting but scary mystery. More exciting than scary, though, because there's not really much to fear from your past life, really. But still, the possibility that, you could have had 50 past lives or more even, and you'll never know who you once were, what you once got up to, and having that chance to actually find out something about past yourself, that's, an experience to be had. As people talk about, I want to experience so much in life. That would be an experience that is... I don't know what the correct term for it is. Once in a lifetime kind of thing, one of those fantastic experiences that you were fortunate to have. Not everybody has been so lucky or fortunate to experience. Yeah, I mean, we talked about, somebody being able to meet their kids from a past life, even though they were old. We've talked about a kid who was supposedly a World War II pilot, and he knew things he shouldn't know, had knowledge of things. Like, it's a hell of a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
And
I believe his story to be real. I do. The 2-year-old there, I believe that story is a real one. I don't think it's fake.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
There's just too much coincidence with that, and there's a lot of documentation about it, so...
Yeah, that's it.
stuff that you didn't go over that also happened is this kid also went through a lot of different therapists and psychiatrists and even went to mediums and stuff and like that too, and they were all able to confirm this. The therapist and the psychiatrist couldn't figure out what was going on, but the mediums are like, yeah, you have another person that memory right now.
Yeah, I'd love to know who I used to be. I feel like it'd be very fascinating. Imagine being able to learn about your past self.
Yeah,
And
a lot of people have undergone hypnosis. Whether you believe that's a hoax or not, that's a whole other topic too. Not one that we'll probably discuss on the show, other than talking about it here and there. But, some people say that when you undergo hypnosis, people have talked about aliens or talked about their past lives and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to know, maybe go to a hypnosis, a hypnotist or whatever they want to call themselves, and talk to them and see about maybe getting some information about yourself that you didn't know, that you've been keeping locked away.
Yeah. I mean, people always talk about, I was this and that with these reincarnation stories. I was a child, or I was an older woman when I passed away, or I was once a grandfather. You never hear anybody ever say, I was once an alien.
Yeah. Maybe the theory of, animals to become humans and humans become animals is a real thing, and it's the same with aliens. Maybe you only can go into what you were.
Maybe our essences of what we're made of are different in the sense of we can't transcend, maybe because we're all part of this planet, we're able to
if I get reincarnated, I want to be an alien now.
Yeah.
I want to know what it's like on another planet.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start talking about weird stuff about, hiding in a closet to scare my brother.
And, humans with 5 fingers. 4 fingers of fun. Yeah.
We had two holes in our nose to breathe. They're like, what's a nose?
Yeah. There's little dangly bits. What were those?
Those are called toes?
Yeah. They were quite nice, you could stretch them out, feel the dirt under them, you could grip things with them. They were quite handy,
Yeah. We were a species that grew fungus on our bodies.
Yeah. We had tons of tiny organisms living on us.
Because we're all just disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Another animal I think I'd like to be? An electric eel.
Well, shock the hell out of everything.
Yeah, for real. Like, that's my personality right there. I'd shock somebody and be like, it's just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'd be great. Or a jellyfish. I'd just start stinging people.
Yeah.
And then just, go close to the beach to watch people peeing on themselves. Because they think that works.
I know, right?
In case you guys didn't know, peeing on yourself from a jellyfish sting does not work.
No.
It's a myth.
I know this firsthand because my friend and I were walking down the beach and he got stung and he asked me to pee in his foot. It did not help. I don't know how old we were at the time. Somewhere between 7 and 9 or something. I don't know.
See, he thought you did it because you wanted to help. You did it for pleasure.
What? But
you're like, oh, for real? I thought you'd never ask me. I mean, yeah, sure, anything to help out you, buddy.
Yeah.
There's some story like that out there somewhere.
Yeah. But
all I can hear myself is slurping on my coffee on the stream now.
Yeah.
Oh God, my microphone is catching too much noises.
Yeah, my microphone does the same. It just doesn't catch me at all.
All right. You remember at the beginning of the segment when I talked about ADHD? Here it is.
Yeah.
We can't focus.
This is what it's like.
Reincarnation to jellyfishes to peeing on your friend to drinking coffee. Like, there's the chain of events for you.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful having our brains, you know.
The greatest thing about ADHD is you never run out of topics to talk about.
Oh yeah, you just bounce.
Yeah.
You're like a bouncy ball.
And then we'll come back full circle, back to the reincarnation.
Yeah. Like right now. So, yeah, if I was to be reincarnated, I wouldn't want to be reincarnated to a wealthy family. I feel like a lot of people that are reincarnated in a very wealthy family get incredibly spoiled. They have these incredible egos.
I would if I had my memories.
Right.
Because I have the memories right now of just being poor. I'm poor.
Right.
I've been poor my entire freaking life.
Right.
The only times I was not poor was, when my parents started becoming a little bit more well off, but that wasn't until like after I moved out the house and I joined the military, Then they started becoming a little bit more well off, and their debt started going down, but I mean we've always been poor, and then my entire 9 years I did in the service I was poor. I was able to get some nice things, like I got a nice 65-inch TV that's LED, and I got my gaming laptop, my tower. I got monitors. I got a whole bunch of nice things. I got my truck I own. Yeah. So I mean, overall, I'm not really poor. I'm lower middle class, but I fought like hell to get out of that being poor. So if I could be reincarnated into being into a rich family, I'd be fine with that as long as I kept the memories of me being poor, because I would know
the hardships.
I would know the hardships of it and the value of the dollar.
And not be ignorant with other people.
And not be ignorant with it, and then I'd probably go to a more family-oriented route, and set my family up for success.
Right.
So I wouldn't be so, because like my whole life I've just been focused more on money and not family, and so that's why I haven't really had a family of my own. But if I had the money, I wouldn't have to worry about that, and then I could just go a more family-oriented route, and having money and a family that I love, my life is complete like that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we spend so much time chasing the bag because we have to, and we can't focus on other things so much and enjoy things as much because it's all our life revolves around.
Right.
It's trying to make it through the week or the month and still be okay.
I mean, that's where I'm at right now, is like as long as I'm not doing stupid stuff for my money, I'm able to make it now through a month easily,
Yeah.
I can go out and still enjoy my weekend and not have to worry about, oh, do I have enough money in the bank to get my food?
Yeah.
I'm at a point now in my life where I don't have to do that. But again, like I said, I fought like hell to get there.
Yeah.
I paid off my debts, and I struggled, and I stopped going out. I broke off contact with a lot of people. It damaged a lot of relationships. But I got there, and I'm at a point now where I'm happy. I'm not struggling anymore, and I'm trying to focus more on my friends and family at this point.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to worry about money right now. I'm not saying I'm rich, but I'm well off enough to where I'm not struggling.
Right. Yeah.
But I could definitely, if I had the memories, I wouldn't mind being reincarnated into a richer family.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to be in a poor family. That's for damn sure. Being poor sucks.
No. It really does.
Been there, done that. Don't want it again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wonder if, because obviously the lad James said apparently he chose his parents supposedly when he was reincarnated. He chose who his parents would be, And I wonder, do we actually get that choice? Like, do I get to choose who my next family is? Do I get to choose who I'd like to grow up with? Or do I choose... Do I just get, like, told this is my option, this is what you gotta pick from?
I think you get to choose.
But then what if somebody else wants to pick the same person? Do they become twins? Or brothers? Or sisters? How does it work? There's so many questions involving reincarnation that
I think it probably revolves around the morality of you as well.
Maybe.
So, I don't know. That's questions that I don't think we're destined to know.
Unfortunately not. But still interesting to discuss. Well, I don't know.
Out of ideas here?
Yeah, I'm kind of running out of ideas. And what else to talk about?
What's your take on the religions?
So, see, I've not really looked into other religions that much. I'm not a very religious person. I was born Catholic, went to a Catholic school. I was christened and all that stuff, my Holy Communion.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know more about the Catholic faith then.
No. My brain's blotted most of it out because I just don't care for it. So, the problem is with me with information retention with my ADHD brain is I will take it in and it'll disappear. My brain just completely a lot of information I get will completely shut off. Like, if I'm trying to, say, input a game code or something like that, I'll have to look back and forth like 20 times. That's how bad my brain can be sometimes. Because even though I just looked at it and then I go over to this new screen, my brain will forget what I just looked at. My brain is terrible with information retention. Now, I didn't really pay attention in RE or RS. We call it religious education and whatnot, because I just didn't really care for it. I'm not really a religious person. I used to get made to go to church, and when I was, I don't know, about between 7 and 9, I told Mum I don't want to go to church anymore. It's a waste of my Sunday. I'm having to go to school every day, and I want my weekends to myself because,
yeah,
I hated school. School was horrible for me. So having to spend some of my weekend, the only time I get to actually enjoy myself, where I don't have to worry about dealing with people, it made me say I didn't want to go to church. I don't want to waste my Sunday here when I could be off playing games or playing with my friends on my street because I'm trying to enjoy myself. I've had a horrible week all week with people, and I don't want to deal with it. I want some me time. So, when it comes to religion, I don't really pay attention. And I don't really look into the religions. I mean, I've seen shows where people talk about their religions and stuff like that. My brain won't absorb the information, though. Because it's not really something that I'm terribly interested in. It's only stuff where, people talk about an experience, which makes me question a lot of religions. And I'm like, okay, well, religion says this. So why is this happen for this person? God's supposed to love us all. Why are these people suffering all the time?
Neil deGrasse Tyson there, he stated something perfect, I think, towards religion.
Yeah.
And he said that if there is a God, right, he can only be one of the two things that people claim that he's both. He can only be all good, or he could only be all powerful. He can't be both, right?
Right.
And he says the reason behind his logic for that is look at everything that is happening in this world. Right? All these wars, these struggles, the famines, the death, all this stuff. You're either all-powerful, which means that you can fix all that.
Right.
Well, if he was all-powerful and all good, he wouldn't allow any of this to happen.
Right.
Because that's good. That's the good thing, is to not let it happen. And he could stop it if he was all-powerful.
Right.
So he's either all-powerful or he's all good. And if he's all good, then this stuff...
Be letting this happen.
Well, if he was all good, this stuff could happen, but he just can't stop it because he's not all powerful.
Right.
And if he was all powerful, he could stop it, but he wouldn't be all good because he isn't.
Yeah.
So I agree with his logic on that.
Yeah, that's what I kind of believe as well, because I'm being told, throughout school, God loves us all, we're all his children, he cares for us, he loves us unconditionally. But yeah, so that's all the starving children in Africa who are dying every day of starvation and famine and all this stuff.
Not just Africa, just all over the world.
I know, and that's just one place, that's what I'm talking about. It's just like...
Or the trafficking and stuff like that.
Yeah, lets all these atrocities happen, doesn't do anything about it. He's supposed to be some good person, we're supposed to worship him and all this kind of stuff. Go to church, say grace before every meal, all this stuff, and I'm just like, well, if this God is so great and so good, why is he letting all this happen?
I decided last year, when I joined the Army, I started going on Sundays. I know we're going into religion more so than the topic at hand, but it's good. I think it's a good little way to end the show, and we can get into AI next week with kind of tie that over somehow. But when I was in basic training, when I joined the Army, right, Sundays, right, you either could stay at the barracks or go to a religious service. That was your choice, right?
Right.
If you stayed at the barracks, you were just bored out of your mind. You didn't get your phone. You were just stuck inside the barracks. Saturday was your free day. If you had a pass, you were allowed to go out. Sunday, though, you were just stuck there at the barracks, either cleaning, doing dumb stuff, details, or you go to a religious service.
Right.
So I used to go to religious services because I'm like, I'm not going to be stuck flipping rocks all day.
Right.
All right. So every single week I went to a different religion. All right. I went to pagans. I went to the Norse. I went to Catholic, the Christian studies, the Buddhist. I went to everything.
Yeah.
Because I was just, interested. I didn't really have a religion of choice, so I went to everything. And that's where I started really learning about different religions. And then when I went to college, I did my religious studies as an elective.
Yeah.
And, as of last year, I kind of just decided that I agree with this whole statement of there's not an all-powerful or an all-good God. It has to be one or the other. Or being. I won't even say God, just a being. All right?
Yeah.
And I believe that this being is an all-powerful being. Not an all-good being. I think it's a neutral one. Because, anything that could build this entire universe, built it and made it a sandbox. It's a giant sandbox. It's a test server, essentially, if you're a video game player. Right?
Yeah.
They're not here to make sure everything good that can happen happens. They're here to watch and see what does happen. They were all powerful enough to create us, but they're not all good because they're not going to fix every problem.
Right.
So it's a neutral being. It's letting chaos reign. It doesn't let bad take over good or good take over evil. It's a neutral thing. There's a balance.
Right.
So that's what I believe, is that there is no such thing as an all good God.
Yeah.
And that's my belief. You could say I'm wrong and I'm going to hell or whatever too, but that's my belief. Is that this being is an all-powerful being. It's not an all-good being. It lets things unfold on itself.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. As far as an afterlife goes, I believe there is one now. I didn't for a long time, but I do now.
Yeah.
And what that afterlife is, I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no answer for what the afterlife is.
I can tell you there is one though, because I've seen it. In a way.
Yeah.
I've had experiences with people who have been dead for a while. I've felt my pet's presence before around me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I definitely think this stuff is real, and that as far as reincarnation goes, I have no idea. It could be very real. I think it has some area in that realm that it's real.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know how it works or or the full capabilities of it, but there's indisputable facts that some people have memories of people who have long been dead.
Yeah.
Take that with however you want to take it. Like I said, I'm not here the one to tell you how it works or what it is. I'm just the one that tells you, hey, here's my thoughts. You decide for yourself.
Yep. Discussion, and that's what it is. We discuss things, and we all have different views and thoughts and ideas on these subjects, and all we can do is just share what we think.
I know
may be
Aaron and
completely
I,
different,
like,
that's okay as well.
Aaron and I are very open-minded,
Yep.
and if you have a theory and we think it's valid, you very well change our minds. I've had multiple people come up to me with their own theories, and I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. I didn't think of it like that. It blows my theory out the freaking water, because my theory is dumb compared to that one. And I start believing that. Like I said with the Neil deGrasse Tyson about the God theory, I heard this thing last year on that, and I was like, you know what? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, my questions I had of why is a God allowing all this stuff to happen made sense to me when he made that statement.
Right.
Changed my mind. Changed my opinion and my belief down to the core.
Yep.
And to where I believe what I believe now because of that statement.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
It's a very good one. Very good statement.
I mean, the man's a genius, so.
Yeah. Because, I spent the longest time questioning, why have I suffered so much? I've always been nice to people. I've always treated people kindly. I've always gone out my way for other people. And, most of my life has been me being treated like absolute rubbish.
I'm not familiar with who it was in the story in the Bible there about a person being a good person and all these bad things kept happening to them.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, why me? And God was testing them. I was like, well, how is that an all good God? Why are you being vicious and evil to this man?
Right. Why are you making this man's life a misery?
Basically, it was like Satan saying, if you do these bad things to him, he'll stop worshiping you. And God's like, oh yeah, well, watch this. And the guy kept worshiping God even though all this bad stuff was happening to him. To me, that's egotistical. That's an egotistical, manipulative, evil thing to do. Yeah. Again, story written by man, but it's supposed to be about God doing this to this person. How is that an all-loving God? That's evil.
Right.
He gave him leprosy in the story.
Yeah.
Like, that's evil. Absolutely evil.
That's it.
So, there is no all-good God. That's a very ego-driven statement right there. And that's someone saying I'm all good, I am no evil. They're an evil person.
Yeah,
they're evil through and through. Hitler said he was a good person. He stated that he was a good person.
Did he?
I can say I'm a good person. I've done some pretty evil things in my life.
I've done things I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
So. We're not all perfect, but at the same time, I'm not sitting there giving leprosy to people and, making them suffer to see if they still like me.
All powerful, 100% believe, but to say they're all good, I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe there's anything in this universe that's 100% all good.
Yeah.
We've all done things that could be considered not good.
Yeah.
There's things in this universe happening that you could say is not all good.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. I mean, I know we got completely off topic, but at the same time, it's a fantastic topic as well.
Yeah. It's starting to last a little hour of it, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably. Unless you got more, we can end it a little early and just kind of. Go over.
I do find it interesting though. Some religions do have the story of. See, a lot of the stuff that I read in the Bible, I just think is complete rubbish. Complete, just made up hogwash.
Well, a lot of it's moral stories. They're to teach you morals.
Yeah. But some of these religions with the stories of reincarnation, and then we've had like things which seem like irrefutable proof of reincarnation happening, makes me believe there's some truth somewhere, to some degree. But not necessarily as we're taught it. It's just more so we have knowledge of things, and we've chalked it up to this God has done this. This God has given you this ability. Because how else would you explain it to people? Do I believe that we've all been turned into cows and whatnot? No. Every religion has their own thoughts and feelings on things, and you're welcome to believe what you want to believe. But when it comes to reincarnation, I like to think that it's real. I'd like to believe it is a possibility and something that happens. It seems very plausible and realistic to me, considering the stuff I've learned about and information I've found out, especially with Dorothy Eady, that World War II story with the child remembering his past life, Dorothy Eady being able to find locations of old places, knowing where to dig for them, and things of that nature. That's just unbaffling evidence to support it being something.
If you have any of these experiences, what I recommend you do is either go to a hypnotist, all right? That's one route, or talk to a medium.
Yeah.
To try and learn more about this. Do some research on the person that you believe that you had in the past life as well. Do some research on that person, and learn more. That's my recommendation. Just with hypnotists and mediums, like I said, I believe in our last episode, though, do your homework on them before you go to them, because there's a lot of phonies out there.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm a skeptic on hypnotism. I don't think it actually works, but other people say otherwise.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be willing to accept it.
Yeah.
Because people have claimed to be hypnotists and tried to hypnotize me, and I laughed at them like they were a joke.
Yeah.
Kind
of like how you get these people that claim they are chi fighters, and you see these videos of them knocking people out without touching them, and then somebody walks up to them and is like, okay, do it to me. Doesn't work. And some of these people have even gone on TV for documentaries to try and say they can do this and just made a fool of themselves. There's a lot of phonies out there who will say what they can to try and earn some money or fame or whatnot. So always do your research. It's always a good idea to properly research who you're going to, what other people's experiences are like, to find out if they're the real deal or not. It's always a gamble, because people can lie. Sometimes people can be paid to lie. But, yeah, if you can find somebody who's legit and able to go under it, let us know your experience. Because I'd be fascinated to know. I don't really believe in hypnotism working, but if, you swear by it, you've been through something and what your experience with it, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, jump in the Discord with us, share your experiences,
Yeah.
It's there for us all to talk and discuss things.
We've been saying this now for a couple weeks now, and since our Discord came open, and we finally had our first guest, so that was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Alex, for showing up.
Yeah, it's great having you. It's awesome actually having a guest wanting to come on the show and have a talk with us.
Yep.
And they've shown interest in possibly showing up again in the future, and definitely be good to have them back.
Love to have them back.
Also, other people as well if they're interested.
Yeah, I see. The whole point is in the user chat. I see a lot of similar, very common names that are always in here with us.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're on here, make an account. Follow us.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Come join us on Discord. All of this stuff is free. Costs you $0.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're just here to have a fun community and talk about the stuff that doesn't typically get talked about. Make it more known.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're people that are willing to talk and have a discussion. We're not like these politicians who scream at each other and call each other names for having different beliefs. We're great for having a conversation with, because we'll actually just have a conversation. Yep. People who get that far into it and get so caught up in it, they need to start screaming at each other. I don't know what they're thinking, but just have a talk.
And for all those people who do want to scream and act all crazy and about this stuff, I mean, you can come on the show too, but keep your cool.
Yeah.
Keep your cool with us and have a civil discussion. You can have your disagreements, that's fine, but we're here for civil talk and to have fun.
I mean, do you hear me and Josh disagreeing on things and having different opinions and the way we handle it? We're just like, fair enough, right? Yeah.
There's been almost every episode you and I have had disagreements.
Exactly. You know? And it's okay to have disagreements. It's okay for us to have different thoughts and beliefs because at the end of the day, everybody's experience is different.
Right.
And the important thing is that we're able to just actually have a talk about them. And it's important to discuss these things because the only way we're going to find out more is through discussion.
Yeah. My final thoughts on that is, maybe a politician one day will hear these words and apply this because, like with Ukraine and Russia or Palestine and Israel, and my heart goes out to all of them out there, all sides of it.
Yeah.
Except for the heinous acts that Hamas have committed. I can't stand behind that. But with the Palestinian people, I feel bad for them.
Yeah. When it comes to a point of burning babies and attacking children and all that, yeah, I'm not standing with that. No. There's no way.
I could stand with with the people of Palestine and the Gaza Strip, but not with Hamas. Yeah. I can't stand with them.
No.
They're villainous and evil. And it sounds like Israel's about to put the hurt on them that they deserve. But I feel bad for the civilians in the way. And my heart goes out to them.
Yeah. I mean, one of the important things to always do is lead by example. I feel like in situations, treat others how you'd like to be treated. Treat others with love and respect and kindness and care. Have talks and understand and look at it from each other's point of view. You can still say you disagree, It doesn't have to resort into a fight or a shouting match. At the end of the day, it's okay to have different thoughts and feelings on things. And that's one thing I want to stress very importantly on this show. That if you come in and you have a different idea to us, don't sit there scared to say it because we might shout at you or...
That would never happen.
Get in an argument. Never happen. Like,
we will never scream and yell at you. We'll just talk to you. I might have a disagreement with you, but I'm not going to yell at you over it. I'll just tell you I don't think that's what my belief is. This is what I believe, and if you disagree with that, we leave it at that. It's a disagreement.
Yeah, that's okay.
We have our differences in opinion.
Absolutely, and I hope all the atrocities are eventually quenched, taken care of, and they stop, essentially. And I hope people are able to live happier lives. It's a horrible world.
When we get off the air, I'll have a talk with you about what I think is going on with the world. But that's not a place for online here.
Yeah. Feels like a pod. But yeah. Honestly, we're always welcome to hear other voices and opinions and thoughts and stories, so we definitely would like you to join us.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we're also on YouTube, so every episode, once we finish going live, gets uploaded to YouTube. So if you tuned in today and you're only able to catch a glimpse and you want to see the whole thing, it will always be there. It will stay on Twitch. But Twitch always removes things after a certain amount of days. That's why we move it to YouTube, so you can always just go and watch there if you need to. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Leave a like, leave a dislike. Let us know why if you left a dislike, why you don't like it, what we can improve on. Because at the end of the day, it's a learning experience for us all here, and we're getting into this. I'm not used to doing podcasts. It's completely new to me and Josh. So it's going to be a learning experience, and the only way we can improve is through your feedback.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No. Just again, October 31st, we got our special, and love to see you guys all next week for our talks on AI on Tuesday.
Oh yeah. So remember the 2-part special on Halloween. We will be discussing ghost stories at 12 p.m. US time, which is 5 p.m. UK time. That'll be going on for about 2 hours, and then we'll have another hour doing something else. As if you join the Discord, you may get a little bit of a hint at that. And at 10 p.m. US time, the normal podcast will... 5 p.m. US time, 10 p.m. UK time. The normal podcast will happen where we discuss paranormal and things of like nature to do with ghosts, our thoughts and feelings on the subject, whether they exist or not. You know, it's going to be a great discussion, great topic for Spooktober, and make sure you tune in next week to wish Josh a very happy birthday.
Appreciate it. All right, everybody. See you till then.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Have a wonderful night.